Let's see if we can get these live chat thing going. And we are live on the boat, people. It's been one heck of a day here at the boat. It really has been nothing short of amazing. Had a great letter from Journey. For those that didn't get a chance to hear that, make sure you do. It's an awesome letter. You know, the lighting is a little screwy, but leaving camera is never a good idea. So, so I think we're going to deal with the lighting. You'll see that it's the lighting is a little bit screwy. That's kind of unfortunate because, again, I really don't want to leave the camera frame. But once I see some people are here and I get a quick. I can get a quick 5x5 so that I know that everybody can hear me. I got a thumbs up, so there's somebody here. That's good. Happy about that. But if you're just getting here, people, you will notice that Deja, good to see you. I'm so happy that you're here. And we've got Charlie Mullins. We've got, let's see here. I have to get this into my my little device. Okay. Let's see. We've got Fiona, we've got Charlie Mullins, we've got Deja Moores. Everybody is here. So that is good. People, as dangerous as this is, I'm going to have to step off the camera frame for 2 seconds because as you can see, the lighting is just a little screwy. Don't go anywhere. Don't listen for sounds and whatnot. I'll be right back. All right, people, hold on there. That should be a little bit better with the lighting. There we go. We don't have that that thing all over the place. That's good. Virginia Doolin, excellent to see you, Virginia. Happy you're here. Let's see, who else have we got? All right, people, we're going to have a lot of fun this evening. I guess Journey must be here because I don't see her, but I see somebody saying hi to her. So welcome, Journey. Derek, nice to see you, Derek. Well, everybody is showing up. The gang is almost all here. We've got Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, we love you too. Happy you're here, my brother. And there's Journey. I'll tell you what, Grizz Cub, thank you so much for sending the letter in. Great letter. I have had so much positive feedback from the letter that you sent in. These letters, people, are they're really going to become the bread and butter of this thing. Between those and the interviews that we're going to be doing, I really see that as the future of the lifeboat. It's wait until you see the interviews. It's really going to bring everybody together. You're really going to know who's on the boat with you, which is going to be awesome. The cool thing, people, is that tonight's live feed, you know, I took last night off, which was, it was restful. I got a chance to answer a bunch of emails, a bunch of text messages, and get back at people that had been reaching out to me for a couple of days. And I really, it's good. It's good whenever I can catch up. And I got to catch up on some sleep, which was huge. I feel like my batteries are charged. And then to get up today to all the good things that were happening. Virginia Doolin was on Verte's channel. Hopefully we see Verte come in. And if you have not ever gone over to Verte's channel, it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. If somebody wants to, if Verte comes in, tell him to throw up a link to his channel so that you guys can get over there and get a look at it. Because the whole Schumann effect thing, once you start to do a little research into that, it really is truthfully fascinating. And I don't want to... I don't know if Mark is on here yet, and I don't want to steal Mark's thunder, but today Mark was on the phone with one of the people that runs NASA. Like, Mark is in this. He really is, you know, he's not a lightweight YouTube guy. The things that he's doing over there, if you have not seen any of the live feeds that Mark does, you are shooting yourself in the foot because those live feeds are absolutely incredible. They really are. It's he takes a subject matter that is really... I don't know, for a guy like me, I get really intimidated by things that are I don't know, if they're heavy into the science, I don't think that half of my brain works very well. You know, in school, math and science were things that I wasn't particularly good at. And once, you know, the other half of my brain works fine. The ability to communicate, you know, stuff like creativity, that half of my brain's great. The other half, not so much. So I get super intimidated when people start talking about science. And when you go over to Wages World, it is, it really sort of, without dumbing it down, because there's something, you start feeling horrible when somebody has brought things down and it makes you feel like, oh, he's got to dumb this down so that Tommy can understand. You know, you start feeling like, I don't know, almost like you're being patronized. And that just simply doesn't happen on his channel. What does is you've got, you know, he is able to take a pretty complex subject matter and make it so that it can be understood rather by you know, everybody that's on there. I really, really love going over there and watching Mark do his thing. It's awesome. If you haven't had a chance to do it, please make sure you get over there and check out Wages World. You will not regret it. I promise you. I literally, I've got the bell notification set up, and I'll sleep with the laptop or the iPad rather right next to me, because the he tends to do them. You know, if space weather hits and it's late, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, I mean, Mark doesn't care. When something needs to get out and be told to the people, he's going live. It's one of those things that he's going to do. So we a lot of the usual suspects are in the boat, or on the boat, as it were. So I want to take the time to okay. Any word on the naloxone shortage? Here's the thing with the shortage of naloxone. For those who don't know, naloxone is a substance that they give to combat overdose. Bottom line, it's what it does once it gets into the bloodstream is that it binds up all of the opiates together, basically creates almost like a ball of all of the opiates. So instead of going through your body and attaching to the brainstem, as the naloxone comes by, it kicks all of that off of the brainstem. So no matter how much, in theory, no matter how much dope you have in your body, you can basically rid the body of it very quickly with a shot of naloxone. It takes it directly down to the liver and gets rid of it. By the way, you can give a shout out to my daughter. Cedar is in the house. I don't know that she's going to stick around long because we've had some, you know, some issues. So, but Cedar has popped in to say hello, and I think that's awesome. Cedar, love you. So happy you're here. It's my pride and joy, people. Absolutely my pride and joy. As far as the naloxone shortage goes, it's not the fact that they're running out of Narcan, which is the name brand for naloxone. The problem is the distribution of it. And this is not just naloxone. This is pretty much across the board. There are a lot of drugs that aren't getting to pharmacies. There are a lot of chemicals that aren't getting to manufacturers. So naloxone is one of the ingredients in Suboxone. With Suboxone, you have buprenorphine, usually in 8 or 4 milligram, 8 milligram, or 12 milligram, either tablets or strips. Added to that is up to 1 milligram of naloxone, right? So you've got Narcan directly mixed in with the substance. Sorry, let me just check here. There are some problems with some of the manufacturers because they're not able to get the ingredients in order to make this stuff. And there could be some issues, people. I have not had any problem picking up my scripts here in this part of the country, but I think that we probably have less people on it. If you're in a real metropolitan area, I've heard from numerous people already that that there are issues with this, and I find that a bit frightening. And Derek N says, "I'm on subs, brother. Just don't ever want to go through withdrawal." You know what I mean? You know what? There are individuals for whom this is the answer, and if that's the case for you, that's fantastic. I certainly do not look down my nose at that. I did a thing back in the day on trading one drug for another, right? There's a show on that. And if you ever go back and watch that video, if you're trading heroin for something like methadone or Suboxone, I think it's pretty jacked up for people to judge you for that decision. It's my personal belief. The manufacturers of naloxone, the people who took the drug that was originally was synthesized by a man by the name of John Lewis, and the goal was to make a pain medication that could be used for pregnancies for people that could not take morphine. For women that couldn't take morphine, this was a great option. But what happened was they took that substance and they turned it into Suboxone and started to use it for the treatment of opioid dependency disorder, right? And once that happened, there was a lot of science that had to sort of go along with this new substance. And your normal doctor, you're not going to your family practitioner and having them write you a prescription for Suboxone. Plain and simple, they can't do it. In order to be able to write a prescription for that, a doctor has to go through an entire different set of gone girl gone. So happy to see you here. Stay off of motorcycles. Seriously, stay off the motorcycles. All bad. Those things can kill you. Be very careful. If you're going to be on motorcycles, please, for all of us here, take care of yourself. I've seen photos. Looked like perhaps the motorcycle thing didn't work out too well. So back to the subject matter at hand. You have to go through a special schooling and a special license to be able to write a prescription for that, because they want the doctors to sort of be on the cutting edge when it comes to people who are trying to quit. It's not just as simple as, writing a prescription for something else. There is a lot of stuff that goes into that. For instance, if you're withdrawing and you're using Suboxone for cessation, right? You're using it as a way to get off of the substance you're on. If you take that too soon, you will go into precipitate withdrawal, and it will knock off everything that you have on the receptors on the brainstem all at once. That is a nightmare. It is a nightmare that very few people can possibly imagine unless they have been there. And the trouble is that without doctors knowing exactly what they're doing, they'll bring somebody in and say, okay, great. You're trying to get off of XYZ substance, right? Oxycontin, heroin, whatever the case may be. Here, take 16 milligrams of Suboxone. If that happens, you have to be basically between 24 to 36 hours into withdrawal before you can take it, so that the naloxone doesn't knock out everything all at once and cause really, really brutal withdrawal sickness, more so than most people can handle. Derek N says, I've been on subs for around 4 years straight through my doc. I've been through every withdrawal you can think of. Never want to do it again. You know what? You don't have to. I mean, there are many, many doctors who are completely content for what they call medical assisted treatment, MAT, right? Or medical assisted therapy, it's sometimes called. Either way, that basically means that you would stay on the substance for the rest of your life, and there's nothing wrong with that. All it's doing is coating the brainstem. You're going to come across haters that are going to give you crap for being on it. Take that with a grain of salt. They don't live your life. They don't walk the mile in your shoes. Let them, say what they will. It's funny. I opened myself up for a lot of that abuse by admitting that I'm on it. It would be very easy if I wanted to be the prior version of myself to have just said, oh no, I'm not on that. I'm not on that. I'm not on that. When I decided to start, taking Suboxone, I felt it important to tell everybody. And I opened myself up to a whole world of crap, but it most assuredly was worth it for me. I want this kind of dialogue, and I want people to understand, right now Derek is talking to someone who he knows, completely understands the boat he is in, right? We're in the same boat together. Even if you were planning to get off of this, Derek, most doctors who have gone through the process of getting educated on this are told 5 years. They want you on the substance for 5 years before you even think about trying to get off of it, because during that 5 years, your brain chemistry and your the things that you learn, your day-to-day habits will change dramatically. That is the goal. You can do it long term. You can stay on it for the rest of your life. Absolutely no judgment there for me. If I don't know whether or not that's the route I'm going to take, but I very well might. As of right now, I'm planning on going the 5-year route and then seeing what's happening at that point. But either way, if it's something that you're in sheer terror, then don't worry about it. You don't have to. There's no reason to. Alexander Kubetin, I believe. Uh, he said he's trying not to drink and it's been a struggle. Don't beat yourself up, my brother. Of course, it's a struggle. Um, your body is rewarding your brain is rewarding the body for doing the consumption of alcohol. It's sending chemicals. It's telling you that you need it. That's the nature of what causes addiction to be difficult. So don't beat yourself up. Come here and talk to people. There's a ton of people on the boat whose drug of choice was alcohol, who are at different stages. People who have been sober a couple of weeks, all the way up to people that have got 25 years of sobriety. Reach out and talk to some of these people, and they'll tell you, their struggles early on. They'll tell you the things that they did in order to, to get through those times, because the beginning is the toughest for any substance. My hat's off to Joe. We all know, Joe was, Joe's got 3 days today, right? 3 days without methamphetamine after 17 years of doing it every single day. And to me, the man's a hero. That's the toughest time. What you're going through right now, that's really when you earn it. Jesse Brown says, trying to sleep without alcohol is the worst when you first quit. That's like that with everything. I just had a question pop in that said, it was questioning about upperclassmen trying to get underclassmen to do drugs. Let's take this all the way to the finish line, right? It's reprehensible in high school, it's reprehensible in college, and it's reprehensible in life. Someone trying to get somebody else to do drugs is, if somebody wants to get high and then choose that for a lifestyle. This is not the channel, believe it or not, where I beat on people who choose to use substances. That may come as a shock to you, but the truth of the matter is that's not what I'm here to do. What I'm here to do is talk about when things go wrong. If you smoke pot on the weekends, or if you smoke pot every day, but for you, it is not an issue. You're able to go to work. If you decide to go on vacation and you can't bring weed with you, so you just quit for 2 weeks and it doesn't affect you and it's no big deal, well, then whatever. Same with alcohol. If you're a social drinker, I don't hate social drinkers. I don't tell them that they shouldn't socially drink. And I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't be doing any substance. I'm here to tell you that once the train jumps the track, we're here to help you get your life back in order. And ideally, we would like to make sure that your kids don't make those kind of decisions until they are deep enough into life to make that decision. And that's not a decision you make at 14, 15, 16. And do yourself any real good. We've gone over the fact that multiple studies by very, very reputable schools and things have gone on to prove that if you start smoking dope at 13, 14 years old, by the time you get to college age, you can lose 8 IQ points, as high as 9 in some studies. People, that's a huge number for IQ. We're not talking about losing 9 pounds, right? We're talking about intelligence quotient. That is a huge, huge number, and it's something that absolutely has to, to be thought about. So no, I don't encourage that at any age. Brandon, my man. Brandon, at 14 days, at 2 weeks, people. Seriously, if you see his name in the comments section, that right there is what this is all about. 2 weeks. We are at the point right now, my friend, where your brain chemistry is going to start to level out. And I'm not saying that, damage that was done to brain cells and things like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the chemical changes that happen in the brain when you use every day. The things that drive you to want to use again, all of that begins to level out at 2 weeks. So you are there, that close to the finish line, which is really, for all intents and purposes, the starting gate. No matter what substance you're on, you need to quit long enough for your brain chemistry to start to level out. And once you do that, once your brain chemistry gets to that point where it's smooth as silk, now is when you're officially in the starting gate. At that point, you truthfully can start to sort of take things and really sort of get into the nuts and bolts. One of the things that I have struggled with over the years in normal approach to rehab is that very, very oftentimes, wow, the seventh son, Thursday will be my 30-day sober. Yeah. There is really nothing cooler than this, people. Are you seeing this? Are you feeling this? Huh? This is the boat doing what the boat does. My God, I am so proud of the both of you. Seventh son, to have you and Brandon on the boat together today and to have you tell Brandon how proud you are of him. People, if the hair on the back of your neck isn't standing up, then I don't think you get it. I don't have hair on the back of my neck and it's standing up. This is the dream. It's the reality of what was the dream right here, right now on this boat. As I was saying a moment ago, you have to get through that period of time where your brain is beginning to adjust. Seventh son, you're there. Right now is that time when you really can be working on the nuts and bolts of life. But so often in rehab, they want you to start working on things while you're still in the process of trying to get off of the detox, for lack of a better way to put it, because you don't detox off of everything, but no matter what the substance or no matter what the habit, I'll use the term detox because we all kind of understand what it means, but there's that window of time where you're fixing the chemical imbalance in the brain. And before anybody goes, wait a sec, you can't fix, hold up. I'm not talking about the addiction switch, right? That chemical imbalance will always be there. I'm talking about the day-to-day, the releases of feel-good chemicals, right? That your brain has been saying for a period of time now, I'm not releasing any of that unless you give me booze. After a 14-day period of time, your brain starts to say, oh, he's playing with his kid. I'm going to release some feel-good chemicals. Oh, he's holding his girlfriend or his wife's hand. I'm going to release some feel-good chemicals. During the detox period, it's not playing that game. And often you'll, within the rehab community, it is referred to as anhedonia. And what it basically means is the inability to feel joy. Literally. It's not that, especially if you're quitting right now, Brandon, if you're struggling with the fact that nothing seems to make you happy, that's very, very normal. And the reason is that the endorphins that your brain releases during normally cool things, right? The birth of a child, the first kiss, right? All of these things that usually make us go, ooh, right? And just get really, really excited. Your brain is not yet on board to go, okay, I'm going to give you feel-good chemicals for normal reasons now. Because for the longest time, they just park until you're off work, or they park until 5 o'clock or whatever the time is where you grab the first cup or the first bottle or the first glass or whatever the case may be, right? You crack the bottle of wine. Then your brain goes, it's time to feel good. And it starts releasing the chemicals even before that first sip hits your lips. Your brain's releasing the endorphins. Until you get to the point where your brain is back on board acting normal, anhedonia is going to be, it's going to be a reality. So don't get down on the system and start thinking to yourself, man, I'm never going to be happy again, because every addict goes through that. Every addict gets to that point where they go, oh my God, I'm just like, nothing makes me happy. I don't enjoy a good meal. I don't sleep well. I don't do this. I don't do that. Of course you don't, right? Your body is waiting for you to manually throw the switch on the endorphins and all of the other feel-good chemicals that you've got in the brain. And this is the switch, right? Well, this happens to be milk, but the first drink becomes the switch. And until your brain gets back on board, which for alcohol, the prevailing science says is 14 days. Doesn't mean it's perfect at 14 days. It means that's when things start getting normal. So Brandon, you're going to start feeling very normal reactions for the first time in a very good period of time. Cedar, my friend, my daughter, the love of my life. I will see you. Be a good girl, and I'm proud of you. She's a good girl. She has endured some crap lately, people, and she's done it like an absolute hero. I was there wasn't much I was not ready to do in order to make that stop, and her response was that we'll let hate win, which is pretty cool stuff. So Yeah, so right now you're in the wheelhouse, Brandon. You're right where you need to be to start feeling right. You know, you're going to start, and it's awesome. The first time that first release of boy, and it can be anything. One of the cool things about quitting, when the process is a little bit longer on some of the harder drugs. So for heroin, it took me a minute. Derek can probably relate, but it took me a minute for me to start feeling any of the feel good chemicals being released again. And the first time I remember, like it was yesterday, the very first time I was walking across a prison yard at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was had been ordered to go for blood tests for some medical problems that I have, and so I'm walking across the yard and I saw the sun come up over the mountains. And then, when you're locked in, you don't see sunrises and you don't see sunsets. It's why I don't miss them now. I mean, I don't ever miss the opportunity um, to allow that to happen. But as that sun started to come up, my brain went, "Ooh, remember that?" And just it was a flood, people. I remember tingling. I stopped in my tracks and I thought, "Oh, that is beautiful." There it is. It's like, God and happiness and everything great in my life was the sun coming up over that mountain. And Brandon, you're in for that. I mean, that's what's going to be happening after day 14, and you're going to see it a lot. You're going to get all of these different things, um, that are that maybe not didn't even light you up in the past are now going to greatly affect you. It gets to the point where everything all at once, starts to be an issue. You just start feeling good about everything, and in the beginning, you almost feel crazy because some of the chemicals will bring tears to your eyes, and you start feeling like I'm an emotional cripple. You start really sort of going through it with that, and you'll feel good. I promise you. You'll almost feel too good, but just hang in there because you're going to relearn all of this, and that's really something to take into account. Mr. Saigon Cinnamon, he says, Tommy, I've been saying for six. Hold on, wait a sec. Nope, let me back up one. Derek N says, my fear is my children going through what I have been through. Yes, I'm on subs, but I am sober other than that. They have never heard of subs or see me take any meds, but just don't want them to ever do what I have. The beautiful thing, really the most beautiful thing, is that once you've walked the path that we have walked, you really have two very distinct options. You're either going to raise a drug addicted kid, all but guaranteed, or your kids aren't going to go anywhere near them. And it is so easy to go in either direction. It really is. If you are completely open and honest with your kids as an addict, you would not believe the success that you can have. And I'm the absolute proof of this. If you take Calhoun, you take Cedar, you take my children. And by the way, those aren't my kids' names. No offense to anybody here, but I feel I need to say that I'm not gonna use my kids' names ever. It would be bad form because I've already seen what happens. The people have already been going after my kids, so it's not something that I'm going to do. But it feels odd saying the names. But for both of my children, neither have ever veered in that direction. My son, and he would not have a problem with me saying this because we've discussed it. My son smokes some pot. He's a pot smoker. He's not a daily pot smoker, and I would be much happier if he wasn't. I really would. I would love it if there was no chemicals in his life, but they don't rule his life. He's not out of control, and he's never veered into the hard stuff. Now, for a guy that has already obviously experimented with drugs to not have a desire to even try those things isn't usually logical. Usually they want to experience everything. But for my son, I have been so viciously honest with him about everything that happened to me, and he knew at a young age that his mom had a problem because his mom also drank, and it was a far more obvious thing. When I'm using, you probably won't know that I'm using unless you see me sober. That was kind of how it was, and I fought very hard for my kids to never see me under the influence. So when my first wife and I got divorced, and he went into counseling, and the counselor said, your mother and father are addicts. And he said, no, Dad's not. As opposed to going, yeah, you're right. Mom's a terrible person, but I'm just great. I remember going outside with him and saying, oh, I am. I'm a drug addict. And it was a difficult thing. You know what I mean? It's not a conversation that you want to have with your kids. It's the most difficult conversation. I would rather talk to my children about sex for 6 days than have to talk to them about what I've done in my past. But in doing so, that's a life lesson. I promise you, you can raise a drug-free child, but it's all about communication. It's about just say no with a damn K, not N-O, K-N-O-W. Make them understand what these substances are. Make them understand what these substances can do and how fast that they can snowball out of control. If you talk to your kids about drugs and you tell them how dangerous cocaine is, or you tell them how dangerous heroin or methamphetamine is, but you don't get down to the minutia, hey, look, you could be the one that the first time you do it, you go, oh, this is how I want to feel forever. Because I promise you, that was heroin for me. That literally came out of my mouth. The person that I did it with the first time, I looked at him and said, I want to feel like this forever. And I don't curse on the show, people, but he just went, oh, right? And he said, no, man, don't say that. Please don't say that. Please don't say that. He's like, don't do this tomorrow. In 3 or 4 days, you could be addicted to this. There was no coming back. This was a road I was going down. And communicating with your kid. You have a better chance of raising a drug-free child than someone that's never done drugs. That may sound crazy, but it is not. They're going to talk to their kids about drugs, and their kids are going to say, well, why do people do them, Mom? I don't know, right? Well, what does that do? The answer, I don't know, literally instills curiosity. Mom doesn't even know. Now we have forbidden fruit, right? Now we have something that, damn, why would all these people want to do it if it's so bad for you? If it's going to make you addicted, why would they all want to do it? It's got to feel awesome, right? These are the things. If you are a parent or even an uncle or an aunt or whatever, and you have the ability to talk to a child, and when they say, why do people do it? Well, why did you do it? Tell them the truth. No lies, right? Why do people do it? I'll tell you what, I had pain in my life that I knew pain medication took that pain away, as stupid as it was, because I knew that eventually it would come back. But I used it to get rid of pain, and not just physical pain. I used it to get rid of every kind of pain. And I mean, the amount of time Cedar and I have spent talking about drugs, I'm talking about a college degree worth of time that we have spent talking about drugs, drug addiction, my past. There's nothing about my past that my kid doesn't know. To the point where when I got out of prison, I had my medical file from prison and all of my psychiatric stuff and everything sent to my daughter. For real. I'm sure that there are people who think that's crazy. But if I have hopes of being able to say, I am at complete peace. My daughter will tell you, if you talk to her about the disease concept, my daughter very much believes that drug addiction is a disease, in that it can be passed from mother and father to son or daughter. And her mother was an alcoholic, right? A functioning alcoholic for a while, and then a non-functioning alcoholic for a while, who was also for a long period of time addicted to heroin. And I was addicted to just about everything at one time or another, except alcohol. I never really got into that. But during everything that I was experimenting with or anything else, I was always on heroin. And so my daughter realizes that more than likely she's a heroin addict that's just never done heroin. And some people wrestle with that concept. Whether you do or not, this is a concept that my daughter understands, and it's one that I believe in wholeheartedly, and I've done. This is not something where I go, I have an opinion. This is something where I've read unbelievable amounts of literature, of studies, of everything that you could possibly dive into in terms of the science behind this, and then formed my opinion. And I very much believe that it can be... Emerson, welcome. First live feed. You got to love it. Joe Birdwell, great finishing day 3 and still free. People, how about that? You think I could have said that better? For real. I mean, I can talk all day. I'm never going to say anything that cool. Welcome to freedom, Joe. I am so proud of you, man. I cannot even begin to tell you how proud I am for you. I'm praying for him as well, people. Oh, while we're on the subject, thoughts and prayers continue, please, for Brittany's mom. She is still in need of prayers. And you know what? As a good rule of thumb, if we're sending positive energy out to Brittany's mom, it's a pretty good idea to send those prayers or that positive energy out to her as well. There's no chance that her mom's going through something really, really serious and she's not. You understand? I mean, we all know what it's like with family, and if somebody's hurting, then we're all hurting, and that's kind of the nature of the beast. So let's keep her whole family in our thoughts and prayers. Absolutely, prayers for Joe. I mean, when you're fighting the good fight and you're this early on in it, I want everything we can ship our man's way, because that's just really the best of it. We're gonna keep that going for you, my man. We are all so proud of you here, and I'll tell you something, people. I have a letter from him. I can't remember if it's on the schedule for tomorrow or if it's the next day, but he's this week. You're going to hear his letter, and it is absolutely beautiful. I'm telling you, it's eloquent, and it's just, you're going to dig it. You really are. Speaking of which, tell me Journey's letter was not absolutely amazing. That one, obviously, I've said this before. If you put 100 of us in a room, the heroin addicts will congregate in one part of the room. You don't have to tell us what the drug of choice is. It'll just happen. I've seen it happen. Anybody that's been to rehab will see it happen. Get 100 people in a room, and then within 15 minutes, each little subsection of people who are sitting and talking are all talking within their little addiction community. It's just how it works. We seek out like-minded individuals, even if they're not talking, they'll just sort of mingle. And I don't know how to explain it. I truthfully don't. I don't know. Anyone knows the science behind it, but it happens 100 out of 100 times. So reading that letter was so personal to me, simply because I live in the same boat that she lives in every aspect of the boat that she lives in. I mean, as much as our stories could not be any more different. I was in the life for 30 years. She fortunately was considerably smarter than me and got out a lot quicker. But I went to prison. She was able to dodge all of that. However, both of us have taken very, very personal attitudes toward our drug of choice, and have decided that it is very, very important for us to lay a line in the sand and say, this is it. No, it's not enough that I stay sober. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight this with everything I have. Derek N. He says, father is not doing good. He has a big surgery tomorrow, and he's still in the nursing home, which sucks. Hey, we all know what to do, people, right? Send out as much positive energy, thoughts, and prayers as we can to Derek N., his dad as well. I lost my dad in February. And it's one of the toughest things that I have ever endured. It's made, without you people, I would have gone literally insane this entire week. I mean, especially this weekend, because as you know, people, there was a little bit of drama. I'm not going to get into all of it. It's not worth talking about. But one of the things that came out of it is that there were people on channels saying awful things about my dad who died in February, because that's the nature of evil. And that was very difficult. It really was. But it is what it is, and it's very much over. However, today I'm going to be going over a couple of things from my past, because of the fact that I tried to protect the kids with shielding people from my name, my birth name, for a period of time until somebody outed us. Obviously, what we were trying to shield was pretty spot on, because it took 15 minutes for them to start going after my kids, which kind of proved why we did what we did. Since that cat is out of the bag, there are some things that I can now share with you that I probably wouldn't have. For instance, there was a time in my life where I made a decent amount of money, actually in movies. So before the end of the live feed, I will tell you some a film or two that you can go out and watch that I'm actually in, and you should get a laugh out of this stuff. It's pretty funny. So we will get to that. But first, people, a big announcement: good news and bad news things. So the shirts came in, and I've told a couple of people this, and I've had it written on the desk for the last 3 darn videos. The shirts came in, and on the sleeve it says the Lifeboat Crew, but Lifeboat was one word. When I sent over the mock-up, it most assuredly was not. You saw the mock-up. You had a copy of it. It's up on our Facebook, and it's everybody sort of passed it around. The Saigon Cinnamon shirt said on the sleeve 2 words, for the word lifeboat. Unfortunately, they made it into one. They're doing a rush, and I am assured that they're going to have them delivered Saturday at the latest, and then we are going to take orders. I have said right from Jump Street that we're going to limit the number of these, right? Because of the fact that we have grown considerably since that, I'm going to sell the first batch of shirts, and if there are 9 people, right, that got an order in and didn't get it, then I will order 9 more shirts. I will not do that to the end of time. I won't order 9 more and then have 6 more people say, "Oh, I didn't get that." People, I'm going to give a window. That window is going to be about 7 days. You get the order in for that shirt or shirts or whatever you decide to do during that first 7 days, and if there's a couple of people that didn't get it because we run out of stock, I will do one more quick run, but that will be it. So that is the news on the shirts. However, I'll tell you something. I did put one on and walk around, and despite the sleeve, man, we're gonna have fun sporting these shirts. It's gonna be something that I can't say enough good things about. Jimmy Pickles Pepper Channel. Yep, when my father died, the Pepper community attacked his name. I'm so sorry, brother. I'm so sorry. Honestly, I don't know. For a guy that talks for a living, I honestly don't have words for the enduring that kind of hate and vitriol. I love you, brother. I'm sorry that happened to you. We have my interaction with you has been limited. In fact, I'm really happy to hear that you're in the on the boat live today. My brother, on the other hand, I know knows you well. There's nothing sadder than what you just said, honestly, with the exception of what somebody said the other day. Apparently, we've got someone on the boat, and I'm not gonna. It's not me to to talk about this person's, but this person said that he's got a family member that has cancer, and they go to chat rooms and pages to discuss cancer, and people literally, go there and start bagging on the people who are dying of cancer. The level of hate in this world right now, it's a statement on why we are where we are. It's the reason that a guy that votes Democrat and the guy that votes Republican can't go to a picnic anymore. It's the reason that people can't go to Thanksgiving. The only good thing that ever came out of that is I met Ariel that way, and I've told that story on here already, but that's how I have one sister that is not a birth sister. I met her on Facebook, and as far as I'm concerned, she is most assuredly my sister, and I love her. And that was the only positive thing that ever came out of that negative crap. Because when she said, I can't even go to my family's house for Thanksgiving because of politics and this and that, I said, well, I happen to be stuck this year, unable to go, not for that reason, but unable to get home to my family, so we can we'll hang out online or something, and I'll be your brother for the day. And it's just never stopped. We've been super close since, and she's one of the most beautiful people you'll ever meet. She's going to be doing her story will be told on here as well. You'll see her over on our Safe Harbor over on Facebook at the Lifeboat Show on Facebook. If you're not there, people, go to any of the videos and the little drop thing on the description. It's right there. Click on it, come over there and put in a request. I promise you, even if you dislike Facebook, the things that you dislike about Facebook aren't on the Lifeboat Show. That little place is really insulated from that kind of garbage, and we're simply plain and simple not going to allow it. So definitely check it out. It is there. We're going to be doing. Wait a second. Did I see Mark Wages? I believe I saw Mark Wages. Mark, if your link isn't up, please put it up. I want people to show up on your live feeds. It's a whole lot of fun when a bunch of people from the boat do it, and it's cool stuff. And I was bragging about you before you got here, so if it's at all possible for you to put that up there, that would make me really happy. It really would. Asked again. Emerson Acker said, I think it's Aker. Okay, said, Tommy, what all do you do that's different from most sobriety things? Oh, okay. Yeah, listen, what I do is considerably different in a lot of ways. And I'm glad that you asked, because there are probably plenty of people here that haven't necessarily heard my rant. The community of rehab, right? There is a community of people who work within the rehabilitation field, and there are certain sort of dyed in the wool, hard and fast rules that they stick with, and they stick with them forever. They live and die with them, and one of them is that they don't require that you take a whole lot of personal responsibility for anything that you've done. So when I say that disease is an addiction, a lot of people shut down as soon as they hear me say that, because they think I am absolving you of all crime or of all bad habit because, well, if it's a disease, it's not your fault. Cancer is a disease. It's a disease of choice. The things that we did while under the influence absolutely were influenced by that drug. However, if you don't take responsibility for it, if you don't own it, then it's gonna be the thing that comes back and gets you. My firm belief, and look, preface this by saying I'm not a doctor, right? I'm not here to diagnose things. I am a recovered junkie, is what I am. I was a convicted bank robber and a convicted gun runner. So Emerson, I lived the worst life you could possibly live for the first half of my time on this planet. And I have owned that. Lock, stock, and barrel. I have completely owned that. As opposed to going the traditional 12-step route, I wrote my own, which they tell you is a sin. But I wrote my own because there were things about the 12 steps that I had a serious problem with. One of them was the make amends. I think it's a great idea to make amends. I think the way that it ends up working 100 out of 100 times is reinforcing the things that made us reprehensible as addicts, right? We get to that level of on the 12 steps and we go, well, it's time to make amends. I'm going to go apologize. And it's about me. I'm getting this thing off my chest because it is important for my sobriety that I go and apologize. I don't care what I'm apologizing for. They're going to hear it. And the example that I've given in other videos, Emerson, is the person that goes up and says, hey, at that party, at the Christmas party, when I hit on your wife, you know what I mean? And I kept trying to get her in the bedroom. Like, I acted like a jackass. I was drunk, but I wanted to apologize for that because it means a lot to me. And we feel the need so much to get this off of our chest that we don't take into account for a half a second that maybe the wife didn't tell the husband that. You know what I mean? Like, we become so myopic in oh, it's my time to make amends. Here's my list. I'm gonna say sorry to every one of these people, right? And it'll say, even in the 12 steps, it says, don't do it if it's going to cause trouble. Well, that gets blown out of the water. I promise you, nobody concentrates on it. So it really is a situation that, you got to take into account. That husband goes to the wife now and says, why didn't you tell me this guy tried to get you in the sack? I mean, how messed up is that? What did you like it? And I mean, divorces happen, like arguments happen that people don't bounce back from. In this woman's head, she looked at it and said, oh, it's my husband's best friend. I got no reason to mention this. The guy's so drunk, he doesn't even know what he's doing. I'm not even going to tell him. She didn't give the guy any encouragement, nothing. Just, well, here they are now, 3 years later, arguing over this at the top of their lungs because some guy felt the need to unburden himself so that is just the reinforcement of I'm the most important person in the world. Nothing else matters but me. So I've kind of put together a program that worked for me. I'm not telling everybody it's going to work for everybody, but the backbone of it is love. And I believe wholeheartedly in another rule, hard and fast. And that is that one of the most popular cliches of all time is you can't pick your family. Emerson, here we believe you can. We don't believe family is hard, fast ruled, determined by your blood. Sure, that definitely is your family. If you're born with a brother, that is your brother. But I got a lot of brothers, and I chose most of them. And the reason for that is in almost every case, it's because we've been in the same boat. We understand things at a level that other people can't. When you get a group of addicts together who are all sober, their conversations are so similar to people who have been in war and come back, right? When you watch veterans, they'll say, where were you? I was in Fallujah. Really when? And they tell them. You watch a series of addicts get together. What was your drug? Fentanyl. Oof, man, that is the worst. How are you doing it? It's the same kind of thing, because for the first time in such a long time, there's somebody there that understands exactly what I'm talking about. I don't have to justify it. I don't have to try to make this person understand why I did this for 25 years or 30 years or 40 years, right? The rest of the free world looks at you like, this guy's an idiot. I mean, you knew how bad this stuff was, and yet you just continued to do it and continued to do it and continued to. I don't want to hear your story. I don't have any respect for you. Why would I listen to you? Around here, Emerson, respect is given, it's received, and it's demanded. We have 4 very simple rules, and if you're going to hang out here, you got to stick by them, right? You can say, hey, I'm praying for you. You could say, you know what? God bless you. You can say, hey, God saved me. What you can't do is tell someone that they're going to end up in hell if they don't choose your God, right? That kind of religious debate is not allowed here. Politics are not allowed here. I don't want to hear who you voted for president. I don't want you to tell me that you think Trump is an idiot, and I don't want to hear that Biden is an idiot. And look, there's an excellent chance, knowing this country, I think one of them's an idiot. But I'm never going to get here in front of the camera and tell you which one that is, because that's not my job. It's not what we're doing, right? So politics is off the table. Religion is off the table, or anything that is divisive, right? Mask mandates, don't talk about them here. We don't want to hear it. Abortion, don't want to hear it. I mean, and look, we all have a stance that we're passionate about. That's great outside this boat. Because on the boat, Emerson, what we're concentrating on is trying to help people get sober. That is the most important thing. And if we choose a side, well, then we're alienating half of the planet. And that half of the planet does drugs, right? Do you understand where I'm coming from? So those are the first big, or those are the first 2. The third is don't curse in our comment section. It's just not allowed, right? You're not going to talk poorly to other people in the comment section. That's rule 4. It's called mean people suck. And we just do not allow meanness here. If you want to come, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying anybody, wants to come here and just spew hatred for the sake of getting something out of it, or just for the sake of being mean, then we're going to get rid of you. We're going to get rid of your comments, and then you'll be gone, because I'm not risking that coming into this environment, because it is a disease. And what happens is these people all want to take care of each other. So instead of just, we're going to end up coming at this person, and now we've got this. It's never going to happen here. Never. In order for this to work, right? And this isn't a dream, and it is an experiment, and it is one that is working. But in order for it to continue to work, then the people on this boat we call crew, right? We're all crew here. And our crewmates, we have to open up in front of each other. I don't know exactly when you found the channel, but if you do the last video, when this feed is over, please watch the last video. And I read a letter that is a goodbye letter to drugs from one of our crewmates. This is very personal stuff. We read one last week. I really hope you will go and take a look at it. It is a goodbye letter to pornography. And it was a woman who wrote it. The courage that it takes to do that, I'm not letting somebody come in here and talk to that girl with anything but respect. And so how are we different? I would say that I probably just ticked off most of the boxes of what makes this channel different, and what makes our view on sobriety and our approach to sobriety different than you're going to find anywhere else. At least those are the things that jump off the page to me. And I bet if you asked that question of any of the crewmates, they would all have something else unique to say. But but it would be absolutely it would be unique, because everybody here also feels as if this boat belongs to them. And with I think with most YouTube channels, if someone sits in front of a camera 2 or 3 times a day, he very much wants this to be his, or to be hers, whatever the case may be, and would like to sort of treat it as such. Another thing that I think is unique here is that this boat belongs to you, and it belongs to everybody else in the comment section. And as long as you treat the boat that way, and you treat the people on it with respect, then it's your boat, and you can claim it as your own, and you can come here when you need help. And when you don't need help and life is good and you're flying high on living the best you can be, then you come here and you help people that aren't. Pretty cool. It really is. It's pretty damn cool. And then the last thing I would say is that every YouTube channel has a product, right? We have a crossover. There's a lot of people here from the pepper community. There's a lot of people here who are into space weather, and because of how this channel grew, we get a lot from those 2 communities. and on depending on what the channel is, obviously there's going to be a whole lot um, of there's crossover when you get groups of people that I'm sorry, people. I just had a question pop up and it caught my eye and almost cleared my brain. Let me see this real quick because it almost looked interesting. I have a quasi call screener that makes everything run smooth around here because I'm no way I can read these things as they're going up the screen. I've got two screens. The other day I had three. Doesn't help. It doesn't. Jesse Stinson says, I have a question. Who is the most important person to you who's not in your family and why? It's not a religious channel, my man, but I would have to go with Jesus on that. And whether you're a Christian or not, I'm not trying to shove this down your throat. But if you wanted to just read the things that this man said, you don't have to believe he's God. Just read the things that he said because the absolute perfect love, right? The things that you could, if you took the Bible and said, this man is not God, he's nothing, he was just a carpenter, but I'm going to follow the instructions that he laid out for how to live, you're going to live a great life. You're going to live a very, very different existence. If you treat other people the way you want to be treated, if you think to yourself, before I remove something from my brother's eye, right, a speck, I'm going to remove the plank out of my own. If you just start going down through those things, you don't have to be a believer, but yeah, that would be the person who had the greatest effect that isn't family. Now, if you wanted that question answered by someone who was alive, I met a black man in prison who I called Q, and the reason you're hearing me today is because of Q. No two ways about it. It hurts my soul that he can't see one of these shows because it would tickle him. He would be the happiest guy in the world, but he's doing life in prison. So the odds of him getting close enough to a computer to actually see the lifeboat, I pray that some cop lets him at some point because I've mailed him letters to let him know what's going on. But he was the reason that I got sober. He put a tremendous amount of time. He put a tremendous amount of effort and more love than you could find almost anywhere on the planet into me. And he did it at the expense of friendships, because in the prison system, racism is the rule. It's not the exemption. It is absolutely the rule. And they even demand it from staff. Like when you go to the cafeteria, a white man can't sit at a black table and a black man can't sit at a white table. We are segregated. And so if a black man says, I'm going to sit and work with this guy and try to help him get sober, his people are not going to treat him very well for doing that. And my people didn't treat me very well for it either, but I was going home. This man was trapped there for the rest of his life. And nevertheless, he sat down with me and he had a very different approach. And when I said to him, boy, I want to help people, he's like, you don't know anything. You can't help people. I mean, he was not, there were times where he was so harsh, it was incredible. He said, you're going to go out and do what? Say, I got sober, I want to help. So the first time he dropped off a stack of books at my cell that he called required reading, I'm not exaggerating. They were stacked from the floor to probably 3 or 4 inches below my chin. And I've said before on the channel, I was reading one a day. I would put just unbelievable amounts of time. I didn't watch TV. I would get up and do 15 minutes of news. I worked out while the cell was still locked, but once they popped those doors, I sat down and I started reading. And I did it all day long, and I took notes, and I did this. And I remember going to him and said, hey, I'm done, and I am ready to go. And he just started laughing. I said, what, man? And he's like, oh, hold on, and just put another stack in there. There was another one about this high. And in the beginning, it was all books that were about rehabilitation. It was all books about chemical dependency. It was books about different opinions on addiction, different studies on addiction. And towards the end, it had nothing to do with any of that. It was books like Sun Tzu, The Art of War, and all of these books that just sort of shape you if you read. And he is the man that without a shadow of a doubt had the largest influence on me. Every once in a while you could throw a prayer his way. He is a person that should not be in there. Just plain and simple. This country and this earth would be so much better if that man was on the outside of those gates. But we don't forgive people in this country for things that they've done. If there are certain crimes that they're just going to give you, life in prison for. And the crime committed he did when he was 17. I don't know how you are at 17, but I certainly wasn't able to make even halfway decent decisions. But nevertheless, he's going to spend the rest of his time on this planet in there. The crazy thing is, it's not going to slow him down. It's not going to stop him. I would venture to say that of all of the people that I know right now, I don't know anyone happier than him. He gets up every day with an attitude like Charlie Mullins. The difference is he has to look through bars, but I've never seen him unhappy. I've never seen any curveball that came down the pike upset him. We got a job working together at a factory within the prison system, they call Unicor. He gets paid by the box that leaves. So each box that goes out the door, you get X amount of dollars for. And at one point, they brought back so many of the boxes that had gone out. And this had gone out, he had been working there, but this came back. I wasn't working there at the time, so it didn't cost me any money. But everybody else, if a box comes back because of a defect, you lose your money on it. And what happened is the panels that went on these shirts were just barely different colors. Nobody's fault. They sent the material, these huge, you're not talking about a bolt of material. You're talking about enough material to fill a room. And one guy just cuts them into sections. So one guy over here is cutting left panels, one guy's cutting right panels, and as they come together, no one really noticed the slight difference in color. But when they got where they were going and they were hanging up, the next thing you know, right, gone. So all of these got sent back, and I remember everybody in the factory screaming, throwing things, and I went over and he was laughing hysterically. And I said to him, Q, how can you find this funny? He said, this isn't funny. He said, do you have any idea how much money this is going to cost me? And I said, well, then why are you laughing? He goes, well, because the other option is crying. Just, to him, that was, completely logical. Joe Birdwell says, well, sorry to bail early, everyone. I have a good night. Don't want to be rude, but I'm afraid I may fall into a comatose state. Well, of course you are, my friend. You don't have the awful substance to keep you awake. Hey, go get a good night's sleep, my brother. You absolutely deserve that. Tomorrow is day 4. We're so proud of you, Joe. Make sure tomorrow, around 5 o'clock, you might want to be watching that, because I believe your letter is the next one. I have them already laid out, but I believe yours is the next one. So it's a great letter, people. Do not miss that tomorrow night. You're definitely going to want to see that. And Wages World says, hey, guys, sorry, but I got to go. I'm dozing off again. Love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow. You know what, Mark? You never got to apologize for bailing off, because people, when you don't see Mark here, there's an excellent chance he's doing something for the boat. I'm not playing. This is a guy that I don't think there's a time during the day that if he's not working on the boat, he's thinking about working on the boat. He's coming up with ideas for working on the boat. Everybody has patted me on the back to the umpteenth degree to tell me that the best idea I have had so far here on the boat was to read the goodbye letters to drugs out loud. Not me. I didn't come up with that idea. I promise you I will never let a fantastic idea like that pop up and I'll take credit for it if it's not mine. That was pure Mark. I definitely recommended that everybody write a letter. And he said to me, why don't you get him to mail them to you and read them on the air? And it's one of those things where as soon as you hear it, you go, what the hell didn't I think of that? Like, do you know what the term myopic means, people? Like myopathy or myopic means that you get so centered, right? Looking at one thing that you can't see everything going on, like you can't see the forest for the trees, like that kind of thing. Well, the term for that is to be myopic. And I get that way, man. I get really, really focused on shooting videos, or I get really, really focused on, what the next goal is. Because one of the other things, and I think this is essential when you start to change your life, addicts don't usually set goals because there's absolutely no reason to set a goal. We're not going to hit it, right? That's just the nature of the beast. Most addicts' goal is to get the next fix and nothing beyond that. I just saw a question that was odd. But so I think that once you begin to get sober, what do you accept letters about? I accept, so, okay. Emerson asked, what do I accept letters about? The letters I'm talking about are goodbye letters to drugs. If you have a letter that you feel the need to write, you absolutely can send it to me. Right now, what we're doing is goodbye letters to either drugs or habits. They don't have to be drugs because oftentimes, people are addicted to gambling. People are addicted to sex. People are addicted to pornography. You can write a goodbye letter to any habit you're trying to stop just the same way. And we've read those already. They're awesome. They touch people. But if there are people who, when they start working through their past, have people who abused them, have people that helped them massively, but these people are gone. And very oftentimes, the inability to say what you want to that person can be detrimental to your sobriety and to your living a clean life. So if you want to write a letter to somebody, you had an abusive father that beat you your entire life, and he's gone, but you want the ability to just say, hey, you know what? I hated you for everything you ever did for me. I still loved you because you were my dad. If you never got to say those things and you feel the need to write it, I would probably I wouldn't encourage anyone to have that read on the air. If you really feel like you're cool with that and you think it's going to help people, I wouldn't stop it, but I would never ask somebody to do that because it's really, really seriously personal, and I don't want to ever have somebody share something that's too personal. So I will share just about any letter that really affects a great number of people, Emerson, but I won't ask for them. I'm never going to ask for something so personal, if you understand what I'm saying, but I'm pretty wide open. Derek N says, do you think someone going to prison would help them more than going to rehab? I'll tell you, Derek, I can only answer that for me. I never had a rehab that I believe the people there knew what they were doing. So I am super biased on this because for me, if you could send me to a rehab where they're going to lock me up, then that might work. I needed to lose my freedom. It's a tough thing to admit. It really is. It's a very difficult thing for me to admit, but I needed to lose my freedom. I was not going to stop. I was not going to get out of my own way. And I was never going to treat my children right. I was never going to be the person that I was intended to be if I didn't go to prison. So for me, yeah, prison was a much better thing. However, I saw in the comment section, scroll by the word prison reform. Don't let them don't let them lie to you about rehab in prison. I can tell you about federal prison rehab. It doesn't exist. I mean, yeah, they have programs. They're jokes. They're there just to get their paycheck. There's not a lot of breakthrough stuff going on. And, prison reform got passed under the last administration. It was bipartisan, which is the reason I'm willing to mention it. It took a equal number from both sides of the aisle to get this passed. And they passed it. And it was the first time they had done prison reform in 30 years. But they talked about all of these programs that people were going to be able to do to get time off their sentences and to help them. Those programs don't exist. I mean, honestly, they don't exist. They can talk about them until the end of time. There may be one prison out of the 127 that have a program that does this. Then they go to Congress, and Congress is, treated to this stuff, and it says, oh, these are everywhere. I went to the Special Management Unit at Lewisburg for assaulting a staff member, right? This is the place you do not want to be. So I was in there. I read, because at the time I was married to an attorney, and I said, I don't even know what a SMU is, but I was going to be in the hole for 14 or 16 months before I went there. They call it solitary therapy, right? They're going to make you miserable, put you in the hole for 14 months, and then send you off to another place that's nothing but the hole for about 30 more. It's a very tough time. But she mailed in the report on what the Special Management Unit is as Congress got it, right? So this was the funding and all of that. And it said all of these amazing things. Most of the people there are gang members. So they were going to take the Bloods, they were going to take the Crips, bring them out of their cells, put them in the same room, and they were going to learn to talk things out. They were going to learn to work with one another. And if not, they're not getting out of the SMU. What a great idea, right? The problem is it doesn't happen. Nothing that was in there happens. So I read this whole thing and I thought, well, it's not that bad. Yeah, I'm going to be locked in the cell, 24 hours a day. But I get out to go to these programs, right? They're going to have drug therapy for me. I can go to drug class 3 times a week. Nothing. Nothing. Now, to not get busted, they hook up a radio station and you can put your radio on FM 87.6 and it's going to play you drug rehab stuff for a half an hour a day. And then they come by once a month and you sign a piece of paper that swears you listen to it and they give you credit for it. It doesn't take time off your sentence or anything else. It just helps you get out of the special management unit and back into general population. But it's a farce. The entire thing is a farce. Here's the problem with the prison system, people, and I can only really speak to the federal system, so keep that in mind. But in the federal system, they reward you for continuing to be a criminal. That's it. You get there and it's impossible to live. They don't feed you enough food to survive on. They really don't. Or they do, but the food is so bad that it's hard to get down. Tommy, I don't think you finished reading my post, but I found a letter from when I went to rehab. It was from 7 years in July. I've been saying 6 years. Oh, congratulations. So you're 7 years sober. Man, that is awesome. It really is. No, I had not finished reading that. That is phenomenal. Yeah, that is awesome, my brother. Good for you. Oh, Saigon's one of my favorite people. Tell me that that guy isn't just a ray of sunshine in a world that is dark. You know what I mean? For real. I'm so glad you're here, brother. I really am. You have brought so much to the party, and you continue to every day. What was I talking about? I'm brain dead. Prison reform. You go into the feds, and the food is awful. And there's a store that you can buy stuff out of. For those of you who don't understand how prison works, you have a bank account. They call it the books. And people can send money in, and then you can buy toothbrushes and toothpaste and snacks, and, things that you can make food with, But then you can get a job. So people get a job in the kitchen, and they steal meat out of the kitchen. They steal everything that should be going into the meal, and they bring them back to the unit and sell them. And those people are living good. Those are the only people there that are living good, right? No, you got people over at CMS. That's the people that fix everything. And they steal tools, they steal all kinds of other things, and they sell them to their friends. Those guys are getting paid. Then you've got guys over here who are working in the audio visual department, and they're stealing the little motors out of everything to make tattoo guns out of. And everybody in there that's living good is breaking the rules or breaking the law. And who's living the best? The drug dealers. So you go in and you look at this and you go, well, if I want to live good, I got to do this, or I got to run an illegal sports book, or I got to run an illegal, and I did, people. Until I decided to get sober, I was selling drugs in there. I was running a sports book so that people could bet. I was a bookie. This is what they teach, and this is what is reinforced. So the more you break the rules, the better you're going to live. That's how the prison system works. If they were to go in there and say, here's how it's going to be. For the first 12 months that you're in here, you're going to have a job. If you get caught stealing anything out of the kitchen, you're never going to work again. You're going to do your entire sentence, right? And they punish the hell out of you. However, you get through that first year working in the kitchen, you're now going to get moved to a completely different part of the prison. In that part of the prison, you're going to have a whole new set of things that you can do. Your store list is going to be different. You're going to be able to wear denim jeans instead of wearing the khaki stuff. You're going to be able to shop, and each time you hit a different phase, they gave you more freedom. You had a laptop, or you had they can take iPads and make them so that you can't look at porn, or you can't, email to the street, but you could be studying. You could be bringing in all of this info, right? Those things exist right now. They could structure the prison system in a way to reward you for doing good. You keep ticking the boxes off. You keep doing the right thing, and then eventually you're in a single cell with a lock on the door, right? You can go out on the weekends. Before you laugh, this is how they do it in Germany. You go out with a weekend pass to go get a job or to go see your family or whatever, and you can, 2 days a week, they let you literally leave the prison. Not after day 5. This is after 6 or 7 years when you got 1 year left on your sentence, so that they actually integrate you back into society. In the federal system, the rule I want to say is 3116, right? And this is what everybody in prison is doing time under. There are 3 goals according to why you're incarcerated in the feds. to protect you from society. I'm sorry, to protect society from you. Okay, I'll be right with you. So they're supposed to protect society from you so that you can't do any more damage. That's number one. Number two, they need to punish you for what you did so that you learn not to do it again. And number three, to rehabilitate you. The only thing they're doing is punishing you. That's the bottom line. They're going to protect you from society for 5 years, but when you leave, you're going to be more dangerous than you went in because it's really just the University of Crime. So this says, I'm a chili head, not like Johnny, but I have a serious question. Is it safe for pregnant women to eat super hot pepper? Random question, but my wife is pregnant again, and I want to make some good hot salsa. I am not the man to answer this question. It has been my understanding that I could tell you everything you want to know about peppers and being healthy. I cannot answer that when it comes to a pregnant woman. I'm out of my element, bro. And I would not want to, boy, I wouldn't want to screw up that question. You know what I'm saying? However, if you ask Johnny that, if you go over to Chase the Heat and put in the question, I came over from the lifeboat because your brother Tommy asked me to ask you this, I guarantee you he's going to answer it. I guarantee you he's going to answer it. There's on a video, I think it was yesterday, I read about how the Nobel Peace Prize was just given out to why do I keep saying that? The Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine was just given to two gentlemen. Don't pick on me, Fiona. I don't want to hear it. I can't say one of the guys' names right, and Fiona had a real fun time with that. Anyway, these people are trying to figure out a way to eliminate opiates as a form of pain therapy, and what they're using instead is a way to use capsaicin to manipulate pain sensors. So it is a very safe substance. It really is. But with pregnancy, bro, I'd be real careful. Talk to Johnny and then probably talk to the doctor as well, just because it's pregnancy, man. What could be more important than pregnancy? It really is the top of the food chain in terms of, you know, yeah, I would be terrified to give you misinformation. And I will say that from time to time, people. The last thing in the world I want to do is give anybody any misinformation. It's just, especially if it's something that's dangerous. You know what I mean? Like if I weigh in on the movie The Blues Brothers and I misquote something, we're not in a lot of trouble. But if it's about something that a woman can do safely during pregnancy, I'm going to defer to somebody that does this for a living. Yeah. And by the way, you're a chili head, but nobody not like Johnny. Who is? The UK chili queen is like Johnny. The Atomic Menace, is quite a bit like Johnny. There are very few people that are that far out there like my brother. The truth of the matter is, Emerson says, I like it here. How cool is that? Yeah, how cool is that? That makes me really, really happy. India is a place that I want to see when the lifeboat is on tour. I love it. And I'll tell you something, people. When this COVID crap finally goes away for real, the lifeboat is most assuredly going to go on tour. I intend to take this show on the road in terms of going to different places across the country, filming from some hotel rooms, going into some to some hotel ballrooms and setting up and doing some live feeds in there, so that if I hit a tri-state area, that people on the boat can come get a chance to meet each other face to face, so to speak, and get a chance for me to meet all of you. Charlie Mullins, has met my brother, who's gone out and seen Johnny at some festivals, and my brother was, he called me just cloud nine. He's like, guess who I just met? And it's funny because you think you met somebody. He's known Charlie forever. You just met Charlie. Well, he met him face to face. So obviously we're going to do this. We're absolutely going to do this. And I'll tell you something else. And I have been advised by literally everybody that has anything to do with the boat that I should never say this out loud. And I'm going to anyway. Today is seems like this would be the really good time. So as I mentioned before, I'm on federal probation, right? That's part of when you get out of prison in the feds. Normally in the state, you either go to probation or you go to prison. In the feds, they did away with parole, and they really didn't. But since Congress wanted them to do away with parole, they changed the name of parole to probation. And when you get out of prison, you get 3 more years that have to basically be on paper. And that means up to 21 P tests a month. It means going to tons of drug therapy meetings, even if you happen to do drug therapy for a living. Even if you happen to spend 40 hours a week doing this, I still got to go to meetings and do all of that. There's a lot of things I have to do hopping through hoops for those 3 years, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that, honestly. I don't. But I am on federal paper for 3 years. When that time is up, and there's, in theory, I could be off in about 13 months, somewhere in there. But when that time terminates, I'm going to walk across the country. And this is the part I'm telling you that everybody has said, don't say this. Don't tell people you're going to do this. Don't, because you're going to change your mind. I'm not going to change my mind. I intend to walk from California. I'm going to start with my feet. Tommy, thanks for speaking to me. Makes me happy that people are not uncomfortable with how I type and speak. Emerson, nobody here is ever going to treat you anyway, but we treat everybody the same. We're happy to have you here. We treat newcomers probably the same as we treat anyone else, although we're always usually so happy to see somebody here for the first time. I'm blessed that you're here. We're all blessed that you're here. It's great. But I'm going to start with my feet in the Pacific Ocean, and I'm going to walk until my feet hit the Atlantic Ocean. It's hands down for no other reason than a massive publicity stunt. But that massive publicity stunt will draw all kinds of attention to the boat and what we do. I will still film every day. I will do my live feed. I will do all that. I will just try to bang out somewhere between 15 to 24 miles a day. And when I was in prison, there was a period of time where it looked like they were going to do away with being on paper. Like there was some stuff that got all the way to Congress, and I was walking 13 miles a day, 5 days a week. And I was getting ready to do this because I thought I was going to be able to get out and just do it. Yes, I knew there would be at least one Forrest Gump joke. I get it all the time, every time I bring this up. But it is something I'm going to do. My goal has been from the beginning that each time I hit a town, you do a radio station, you do a TV station, and you tell them what the boat's about. I mean, my job, people, is to make this boat as big as we can possibly make it. My job, sitting in front of this camera, is to make sure that number keeps going up, right? The number of crewmates on this boat. My job is to make it staggeringly large, because if we want this to be a forest fire, right? It's a spark right now, and it's a beautiful spark. It is a gorgeous spark. But if we want it to be a forest fire, then there's things that I'm going to have to do that are above and beyond. And that most assuredly is one of them. It also gives me the opportunity. What would happen if a regular person drank pure capsaicin crystals? Oh, you don't even want to think about it. I'm telling you, you should just see a regular person eat a peanut out of a tube of terror. It takes a very, very long time to build up a tolerance to be able to handle any of that stuff. It wouldn't kill them, but they would wish they were dead. And they would probably convince themselves that they're going to die. I mean, but they wouldn't. But I'm going to, this is something I'm going to do, people. And as we get closer to that period of time, obviously we'll talk about it more. But like I said, I have been told, everybody that advises me or said, don't do it because you're going to change your mind and then you're going to look stupid. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not a young guy. I'm an old man, but I am definitely going to walk across the entire country. It's going to be it's going to bring a level of attention to this boat that will really sort of take it to the next level, and that needs to happen. Swiss Vapor. All right. I love my Swiss guy, dude. I'm so happy you're here, Swiss Vapor. I always get emails and texts from him that said, "Oh, I missed it." You didn't miss it, bro. And I'm sticking around for a while. It's one of those nights. I took last night off, so you're here at a good time. What have we got here? Oh, interesting bank robber. Sounds fun. Yes, I did. I did go to prison for robbing banks. At least the first time. The second time, I went to prison for illegally selling arms, guns. That was the my second federal sentence. The first was for bank robbery. Wake up early. Swiss Vapor. Yeah, I can't tell you how happy I am that you are here, my friend. It's awesome that that you have made it in. Yeah, in terms of the great, I'm not particularly proud of the crimes that I committed. Um, you know, but they are most assuredly a part of who I am, and they're not something that they're not something I can deny. And I have preached, for lack of a better way to put it, from the time that I started this, that how would I have reacted to a robbery victim if they had pulled a gun on me for self-defense? Well, I didn't carry a gun. So if they had pulled a gun on me, it would have been some pretty seriously bad time for me. I never carried a weapon on any of the bank robberies. It was not if you go back to some of the earlier videos, I got very specific for how I robbed banks. I was not. It wasn't heat. I didn't go running in there with an M16 and hit the vault. I went in there and tried to get the top drawer and the bottom drawer from a teller. That was what I was trying to do. And if they looked panicked, I used to tell them I didn't have a gun. I knew enough about, you can research everything. I mean, if you got time, you can literally go online and pull down the protocols for which banks train their tellers to do what. And I took some time, and if you go in there and tell them to stand on one foot, put their left hand in the air, and then hand you all the money, they're going to do exactly what you tell them. It's basically what they're trained to do. So I didn't. I was the gentleman bank robber. I wasn't someone that went in there with a gun. I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be in that situation. I suppose if somebody pulled a gun on me, I would have put my hands in the air, dropped down on my knees, and gone to prison. You know, that was sort of a. It just got to a point. I was so desperate in my addiction that I had been stealing from stores for such a long period of time. I had blown my career out of the water, and I spent so much time stealing things that I then had to go sell, that it got to a point where that I had to. I didn't have to. I wanted to get rid of the fence. I wanted to steal something that I could immediately go buy drugs with, and the only thing that I could figure out that was money. And I wasn't going to go into a liquor store with a gun. I wasn't going to do anything like that. So the bank, you know, seemed, I hate to use the word logical because it's illogical to beat hell. I am 51 years old. There was a question, somebody just asked how old I was. I am 51. I will be 52 in July. My birthday is in the month of July. But yeah, that's a great question that you asked about the robbery thing. I think it's one of those questions that there are a lot of people who break the law and don't ask that question of themselves before it happens. Like I spent time in prison, obviously a decent amount of it, and I would talk to people who said, well, you know, and they were always angry at the person. You know, they ended up shooting somebody who pulled a gun on them. And he'd go, yeah, a stupid guy pulled a gun on me. You're robbing somebody with a gun. You know what I mean? If somebody then pulls a gun to defend themselves, you know, the fault obviously lies with the robber. But like so many other things with addicts, it's never anybody's fault but their own. You know what I mean? But somebody else's. An addict who doesn't own it, it's always somebody else's fault. It used to be astounding to me. You'd be in prison and say to somebody, you know, you don't ask somebody what they're in for. It's not the first question you ask somebody in federal prison. It's considered really bad form until you know a person, and then you can sort of say, hey, so what's your charge, you know, or whatever. But you know, you say, what are you in prison for? And someone would say, well, my wife got pissed off and you know, called the FBI and told them this, or this. And I would think to myself, I have no idea what the crime was. Like in this guy's head, the reason he's in prison is because his wife called the FBI. There's such a dissociation between what really happened and how they dealt with it. You know, I remember sitting in a group therapy and no joke, I was the only guy in the room when they got, everybody had one of those stories. You know, what are you in prison for? Well, my crime partner got caught with a dime bag and didn't want to go to prison. So he turned us in for, you know, selling drugs or this or that. Every single person, they got to me, they were like, what are you in prison for? I said, I robbed a bank so I could buy heroin. And everybody just sort of looked at me like, damn, you know, it's rare that somebody actually owns it and says, you know, this is my fault. I did this and it was stupid, but it was me. I am not proud of anything that I did under the influence. I'm really not. Even before, there was a period of my life where I was on drugs, but I hadn't gotten caught by the world on drugs. And I had a very good job and I made a lot of money. And I went out of a couple of different careers, but I really did well until I didn't. And then I just became a thief. And that was, you know, if you're strung out on something that bad, there's really a very limited number of ways that you can support your habit. You know, you can sell drugs, right? You can deal drugs and then try to be getting high on part of the supply that way. You could sell your body. You know, if more often than not, that's the something that guys don't go down that road too often, but it happens to women. And then the other option is, you know, stealing things. Those are really like the big three. So I didn't have the self-control to be a drug dealer. If you gave me a kilo of heroin, I would just sit and smoke and shoot until it was gone. Like that was who I was. So that wasn't an option. And the prostitution thing probably wasn't going to work for me. So I became a thief. Not proud of any of it. And one of the sad things about, you know, what I went to prison for is that you get people who hear bank robbery and go, oh, cool. Did I take a plea deal? Or get infected by, or get indicted by a grand jury. Jury nullification is a fascinating concept. Jury nullification is a fascinating concept that would never happen to a guy like me because I was just viciously guilty. Jury nullification, I think one of the most famous cases of it is the guy that whose son was kidnapped and molested, and he shot the man at an airport, and he did it on film, you know. And when there's no doubt he did it. He did it on film. But when the time came for him to get you know, convicted for this, and he went in, it was complete jury nullification. The jury said, basically, I don't care what you got on film, he's not guilty. And it was one of those situations where everybody sort of realized that if that was their son, they would have done it too. And it looks like we've lost the feed. Can I get a 5x5 if anyone can see me? Am I still on? Johnny is older. 5x5, you can still see me. Fantastic. I can't see any of you, but that is okay. I can't see the comments, but I got it on the screen. So yeah, my brother Johnny is 4 years older than I am. That is how that breaks down. Yes. And you can absolutely see that if you look at him. He looks like he's 15 years older than me. Let's be honest. I mean, you see this? He likes to say that I use just for men, but the truth is I'm just considerably younger looking than he is. And that's sort of the way that goes down. And Johnny possesses a superpower, and I don't have one. You know, Johnny is his ability to eat really, really hot things. And, you know, there's a lot of people that can eat stuff as hot as my brother. There are very few people that can eat stuff as hot as my brother and carry on a normal conversation with you while they do it. That's really Johnny's superpower. That's the reason that Johnny's channel has been successful, and, you know, that he's got followers in every country is because, you know, the fact that he doesn't look pained when he does it. I'm sure that he is. Oh, wow. So I'm probably pretty close to your dad's age too, then. That just makes me feel old. Your dad still hasn't gotten gray hair yet. Rub that in, right? What does come in is not completely gray if I let it grow in. It's just I'm starting to get the Dr. Phil look. Like if I were to grow it in, it's so thin on top that yeah, I'm not going to go down that road. Someday I might pull out. Someday I might pull out some photos that show. Me. I had a ponytail in prison. I was trying to camouflage myself as much as possible. I didn't do the gang thing. So if you shave your head in prison, you're assumed to be a Nazi. So in spite of the fact that I have shaved my head basically my entire life, it's not something that I wanted to do um, in while I was inside. Having kids, you know what, Emerson, my kids have gotten to the age where you really start feeling old with your kids when you're watching them transform really fast. At least that's how it was with me. Watching my son go from being a baby to being 11, it was like it was so fast, and that was shocking to me, and it makes you feel like you're getting older. But my kids are of an age now, my son and my daughter, where I basically think of them as adults. My daughter's a little, still a little young. My son is an adult, but my daughter is still somewhat young, but very mature for her age. Actually, I shouldn't say that, because she can definitely be immature if she wants to be. Like, she has fun picking on me and can act immature that way. But she's a great girl. Fiona, are you still a teenager? You were obviously not here for her birthday. In fact, when they lit the candles on the cake, we could see it, and those were in Australia. No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously. No, yeah, she's close to that. The lifeboat. Can you please give me any advice on how to get stronger and better for saying no? I can give you some advice for things that worked for me. And when it comes to saying no, what you're really talking about is a fight with your drug of choice, right? Your drug of choice says to say yes, and your job basically at that point is to say no. I can't do that. I can't. I've determined after 3+ decades of being a drug addict that I can't win a fist fight with heroin. So the only way that I can win a fist fight with heroin is to not get in a fist fight with heroin. So I structure my life in such a way that I don't ever find myself in a situation where I can be anywhere near it. And that is really sort of the backbone of how I have put my life together. Let's say you and I have been best friends for 25 years and I got sober. The conversation that I would have with you would be something along the lines of, we can pop in on the phone and say hi to each other, and I can check in with you. We can get together and hit a restaurant, but I need to know before I go there. If your eyes are pinned and I got to look at that and it's going to be a trigger, I'm just going to leave. If you're going to hang out with me for 2 or 3 hours, then you're going to do it sober, because I'm not strong enough to be around that all the time. Now, that was very much the beginning of my sobriety I'm talking about. Where I'm at now, I can be around a person who's been using. It happens all the time, but I'll never do it intentionally. If I know you're a heroin user, I'm not going to your house. Doesn't make sense to me. It's it may sound cruel, but the truth of the matter is, there really does have to be a point at which you say, you're going to put the mask on your face. No, you got to put the mask on someone else's face before you put it on yours. That's going to get you killed. You gotta make sure that before you start trying to take care of anyone else, that you take care of yourself. Now, this debate has come up on this channel before. I'm not talking about at the exclusion of others, obviously, right? I mean, if you know the amount of time that I spend doing this, right? This is a full-time job that I don't get paid for, and I then have a full-time job. So obviously, I feel very strongly about reaching out to addicts. Like, this is my default setting. But I wouldn't want to be in the same room with somebody who's just getting sober. There's no payout in that for me. I will help people at a distance. I will go to meetings, with people, but I really have to structure my life in such a way where I'm never going to be around it. So for me, it meant getting rid of some friends. And I know that there are people who go, well, I'm never going to do that. Well, then, you can let me know how it works out for you. And I hope that it does. I really do. Yesterday was hard to say no. Had a terrible nightmare. Now it's morning and I'm staring at my daughter, and I know why. You know what? Yeah, your daughter is your why. My daughter's my why. It really is. That's something that helps keep me sober. The nightmare thing, I do a video where I think the title says something about the fact that I watched a man die and I didn't do anything. I relived that. It's something that happened to me in prison, and it happens often. Not as often as it used to, but it happens often, where I will redream that murder. And I watched it. I watched the entire thing, and uh, each time the person he basically killed this person by stomping on them. Right? He literally stomped this person's head until the guy was dead. So when I have the nightmare, it's always the murderer stomping somebody that I know. It'll be an ex-wife, it'll be, my mother, it'll be my daughter or my son. Now it could be somebody from the boat if I've seen, pictures of them enough. And I always have a very, very difficult time after one of these nightmares. It really is, it's a difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing to cope with, but it's one of those things that, when nightmares become something that when nightmares become something that starts to encroach on your sobriety, if it's a recurring nightmare, I went and talked to counselors. Like, I tried to take this to the next level, because I don't want things from my past creeping up on me, and there are always going to be things that are going to require more help than than you're going to get just in going to meetings or working through this kind of an environment. But I love the fact that your daughter is a why for you. I think that that's super, super important. That we have somebody that we focus on that's more important than ourselves. I think that that's huge. I really do. Sorry. Sorry, people. As I do this, I've got 6 or 7 different people that I have one who I've asked to do this, and the rest of them all sort of send that send texts. Sorry, people. I'll get done with this in a second. This is my brother. Sorry. Now I'm done. So saying no. It becomes a learned behavior, and it's like doing push-ups. It's like doing sit-ups or squats. It's like learning needlepoint or playing tennis. No joke. This is a skill of the brain. This is a skill of the soul, and it's a skill of learning that determination. It really is. And you sort of have to celebrate each one in the beginning. I had a friend that used to come up and say to me, so and so just offered me dope. We were in prison, and Q had worked with me, and I had gotten sober, and I had a few years under my belt, and I started working. So I started working more closely with other individuals, trying to get them sober. And this one kid would come up, and he was literally, flying high every time he was able to say no. And I think we kind of have to do that, whether we're sharing it with a friend or a sponsor or anything else. There's something super important about, celebrating that, saying, I did it, I beat it. And you said yesterday you had the opportunity to get some opioids. You know what? If you can say no to it, celebrate that. I even didn't have a beer, nor my medical weed. I figured it was better by the situation. You know what? I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you that you're saying no. And especially if somebody had just offered you opiates. I know that is a really, really difficult thing. And it's really, really impressed. Saigon Cinnamon says, I'm back. It kicked me out for like 10 minutes. I think, one of the other things I was getting people who were saying that they got kicked out as well. So hopefully, everybody's getting, able to stay in here. I really want these live feeds to go smoother. Mark has been working really diligently. We've got everything set up Today, the OBS, which is the software that we use in order to do this, we got rid of it. We re-downloaded it. Right now, with the interview with the split screen is bulletproof. Like, that is tight. We can do that. There's no problem with it. This, however, is a little bit more difficult. And so right now, once again, I am broadcasting to you just straight through YouTube. There is a YouTube Go Live function. That's what we're on. In a perfect world, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to be going through YouTube Studio, and we're going to be using OBS software to do that. And there's a ton of cool crap we can do at that point. I can green screen behind us without having a green screen. So if I wanted to show, you know, whatever, a beach, a boat, I could literally be standing on the deck of a boat if, you know, once we get all of that stuff working out. And I probably won't. I mean, people... This is, believe it or not, there's more than one room in this house. I could kind of be going around and you know, making this a little bit more, I don't know, flashy. But really, I kind of like to. I really want to make sure that I'm getting the message and not much else. So let me see where we're at here. Let me see where we're at. Just checking people to see if there's any fun stuff. Yeah. So, you know what, people, if there are any questions or if there are anything else, feel free to ask them. I'm starting to get to the time of the feed where I'm not getting off the live feed, but we're going to start winding it down a little bit. I find too often times I'll say, well, we're getting to the end of this, and I don't give everybody a time to sort of say goodbye. By the way, people, if anything ever needs to be discussed in a live feed, and anything that we're discussing is going to veer people off into a direction that is going to take us away from what we're focused on, or is going to shine a light or lack of light on anyone within the community, then I would very much recommend that that is done via email. I would recommend that that is done via DM or text messages or anything like that. What we want to do more than anything else is try to keep it. It's astounding with social media how you can take a mustard seed of anything that's not positive and in 6 seconds have a tree this fat around raining mustard and hate all over everything in the comment section. It is so easy to veer. People say, well, you know, free speech. Not here, there isn't. Sorry. It's your boat. It's your boat. But I'm the captain. And my job is to make sure that there's never anybody in this comment section who feels like they're getting picked on, because that literally erodes at where we keep the watertight seals on this boat. And the seals on this boat aren't there to keep out water. You feel me? They're here to keep out hate. And if we start nagging at one another, if we start doing anything that starts to erode at those seals, what's going to come through is hate. And I'm not going to have it. I'm not. It's way, way too important to risk letting that crawl in here. We talk about issues, and we talk about, there have been people in the comment section who have talked about being molested. There are people in the comment section that have talked about just some of the most gut-wrenching personal things. That can't take place in the same environment that anything other than love is happening. So if I ever sound like I'm not being kind, it's then you know, I apologize. So, but the truth of the matter is, what is my opinion working for a company like Marlboro? Go make that money and enjoy it, or stay far away. You know something? That is a decision that is completely and uniquely your own. If you're asking me if I could do it, I guess it depends on. Truthfully, I don't know that I could. I really don't. But it's not just. I mean, there's a bunch of different fields that I think I would be uncomfortable with. You know, tobacco, nicotine, that would make me uncomfortable. Pharmaceutical companies. I don't think I could be comfortable working for Pfizer. And they make so many drugs that save people's lives. Rampage. Good to see you, my brother. They make so many drugs that save people's lives, and they do so much good. But the last thing in the world I would be comfortable doing is working for a company that also was pumping out OxyContin. And OxyContin is needed by so many people who use it exactly how it needs to be used. I still couldn't do it. Cigarettes, I probably really have a struggle with because I just don't think that there's an application of that product that isn't just rotten. I think that they enslave people and they kill people, and I would have a problem with it. I really would. But that's me. I wouldn't judge someone that did. And I think in this day and age, that would weigh on me too, because I promise you that right now, if you were to get a job working at Philip Morris, the world would crap on you in a way that you cannot imagine, because we live in a society now that that really, really would be tough on you. Deja Moore says, I wish I could try hot stuff. Deja, you absolutely can. You can. The nice thing about being a chili head of any kind, right? There's a new breed of chili head that sticks their chest out and walks around and talks about how much they can handle and how much heat they did. And I've done 9 tubes of terror and this and that. You find the old school ones. My brother's this way. You find the, Jif. If I don't know if you guys know who Jif is, but Jif's this way. Any of the sort of the, I don't want to call them old men, but the old timers that have been around. Vic is a great guy. If you're into the hot stuff, and the hottest stuff you can handle is Tabasco, but you love it, you're a chili head. I mean, you're not Johnny, right? You're not the atomic menace, but you don't have to be. One of the beautiful things about chasing heat, being a whatever you want to call it, being a chili head, loving capsaicin, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you're feeling the burn and you enjoy that burn, who cares how much you got to ingest to feel the burn? Whether you're doing Tabasco and I'm doing a 43-second tube of terror and drinking a thing of tincture, we're getting the same effect. Puts us where? In the same boat, right? So you can enjoy the heat. I promise you. If Tabasco is too hot for you, there is a sauce below Tabasco. All you have to do is find that one product for you that burns just enough to where you really enjoy the little bit of pain that comes with the burn and the flavor that goes along with it and all that, and boom, you're a chili head. And you'll find that you'll want to start using that on everything, and you will. And in about 3 or 4 weeks, you'll be like, well, it was a lot more fun when I first started doing it. It just kind of really doesn't burn the same. Well, then you go to the next one. And the next thing you know, you're like, all right, I'm doing 6 Carolina Reapers, and I'm going to drink a bottle of tincture. And I'm kidding. Don't drink a bottle of tincture, people. I've become known for it, right? Or was known for it for a long time, like Tommy Tincture. And I regret just about every time I ever did it. The capsaicin cramps that comes from that is just the absolute worst. Good Lord. People, in 14 months, my brother Rampage is going to hit the 20-year mark for quitting alcohol. Ooh. Others in his life agreed that drink was my demon. Dude, you are a year and 2 months away from hitting the 20-year mark. That is as impressive. Rampage, I'm proud of you, brother. That is so, so cool. People, you ever want to stop across a very interesting page? I really dig listening to Rampage talk. I really do. If you ever want to go and check out an interesting page, he has a very unique ability to speak his mind at length about subjects that he can be very passionate about, and there just never seems to run into to cruelty. He can be passionate as hell, really get his point across, letting you know exactly how he feels, even if it's to the point of hating what he's talking about. But he's never going to bring that at you. And that is a rare, rare thing in this day and age. So his name's Rampage. There's no problem finding him. Rampage, if you want to stick a link up, you can do that. I think, honestly, people, you should check it out. It is a very, very interesting channel. I enjoy going over there. It's good stuff. Okay, in the beginning of this video, as I have been reminded now several times, I made a comment. And the comment is this. In the 80s, I was hoping to be an aspiring actor. And I did much stage work and did many, many plays, musicals, really got into it. It was something that my major in college, the first time I tried, I did not graduate, but the first time I tried at college, my major was theater. This was something that I was very, very into. Because of that, you hope that maybe someday you get into a film. So if you have an opportunity to go to auditions or things like that, then you make sure that you do that, which I did. And in doing so, I had some success. And there is a film or two out there that you absolutely can go see that you will see me in. For the purpose of stringing this out as much as possible and trying to keep people coming back, I won't tell you everything for my discography or my curriculum vitae when it comes to all things theater. But what I will do today is tell you the one that I'm probably best known for. And that is, hold on one sec. I'm a chili head since I'm 7. I'm now 38. My son's 9. He's continuing my life with chili. My line is now 1.2 million. My son is at 100K. So proud of him. Boy, 1.2 million. When you get to the Scoville number of 1.2 million, that is a burn. That is an endorphin dump burn. That will literally get your brain to release tons of chemicals because honestly, your brain goes, wow, I never felt pain like that before. We might be dying. That's really kind of the science behind eating anything quite that hot, which I find really, really funny. Hey, Homeless in America says, I subbed Rampage. You're not going to regret that. I have, back to the subject matter at hand. I have, so I've done a few major motion pictures. I'm going to tell you the one that you will recognize probably the most, especially if you're of a specific age. You younger kids might not have seen this, although it does get shown now an awful lot at Christmas time. But there was a movie called Funny Farm, and Funny Farm had, the star was Chevy Chase. The premise of the film is that a sports writer from New York City goes to live in the country. He's going to go write his novel and live out in the country. It's Chevy Chase. You know, for those of you of a certain time, you know Chevy Chase is he's a pretty funny guy. Yes, Funny Farm, Virginia. Funny Farm with Chevy Chase, and I am in that film. I'm not standing as an extra in that film. I'm in that film. I have a what was called in the parlance of acting, I had a day player's contract. And what that means is that I had a pickup and delivery contract, meaning I got paid if I got taken down to the set. They would pick me up. As soon as I hit the set, I got paid. If for some reason we couldn't film that day or whatever the case may be, I still got paid. I have what is called a pivotal role. And what that means is that there's no chance that you can end up on the editing floor and still have the movie make sense. It's not a huge part, but it is a speaking role. And if my part of the film does not take place, then there's no continuity, because early on in the film, something that I do changes everything that happens to Chevy Chase and his wife. And then something later on in the film that I do absolutely changes everything that happens to Chevy Chase and his wife. And it's a much younger me. I won't tell you how old I was, but let us just say that I had considerably more hair and considerably less wrinkles. But it is you people will get a kick out of it. The reason I never mentioned it up to this point is because when you go to the credits, it has my birth name. Obviously, it didn't say Tommy Scoville because I wasn't Tommy Scoville yet. So it has my birth name in the credits. And I very much wanted to keep my birth name out of the limelight until, Cedar was, say, 23 or 24, was the original plan. But I have no intention of ever going back. I am Captain Tommy. That is who I am. That is most assuredly who I am. The nice thing, people, is, and I didn't plan it this way, but when I got out of prison, I immediately started to be Tommy Scoville because of Johnny wanting to protect his family. Wouldn't do me a lot of good to show up looking exactly like him, eating peppers under my real name. So I started being, Tommy Scoville. And in doing so, a really funny thing happened. It occurred to me after about 4 or 5 months of being out of prison that Tommy Scoville had never lied to anybody. Tommy Scoville had never broken his word. He had never called in sick for work. He had never gotten high. Like, that name had never done anything wrong compared to, my previous birth name. And that really became kind of a mantra thing, So when I talk about creating a new you, for me, there was a name involved in it. But I very much, my name would be legally right now, Tommy Scoville. The papers are filed. I cannot legally sign off on the last part of it until I'm off federal probation. At that point, people, I will be Tommy Scoville for the rest of my life. I don't hate my birth name or any such garbage. It really was to protect my 2 children. But now that the cat is out of the bag, you may as well go and check out Funny Farm because it'll get you a laugh. And the funny thing is, there is 1 or 2 people, believe it or not, on this boat for whom this was one of their favorite films. And for them, obviously, we had this conversation a little earlier than anyone else did. They found out who I was because there are people, believe it or not, for whom this is one of their favorite films. It's not a great movie, but it is a funny movie, and you will have an opportunity to see the captain at a much younger age, in a Chevy Chase film. So it'd be good for a laugh. The other things that I have done in theater, you will not hear about just yet, but you will have an opportunity to do so at a later date. Hopefully, that keeps you coming back. Music, guitar, keyboard, harmonica, piano. Gone Girl 777. Gone Girl can play a horde of musical instruments. That is impressive. That really is impressive. I think if I could play one instrument, it would be the piano. I realize you can't like sling it around with you and take it on the road or do anything that you could do with a guitar, but no, I wish I was in Fletch. That's one of the best movies ever. Rampage, great film. One of the best movies ever. No, the only Chevy Chase film that I did was Funny Farm. So please check it out. You'll get a laugh out of it. And I'm fairly confident that it's probably out there free. You know what I mean? There's so much free stuff out there that, you should have an opportunity to see it probably without paying. So, piano passion. Yeah, I love the piano. I think it is just one of the great instruments. I really, really do love listening to piano music. You really can't go wrong. Yeah, so people, we have got to that time of the evening where how much time do you personally spend? How much time did I personally spend filming Funny Farm? Here's the thing: the shooting of the 2 scenes took a day each. The first scene that we filmed probably took 2 or 3 hours. We probably did it in maybe 10 takes. The setup takes a long time. The actual filming is over very quickly. And we probably did it in 10 takes. The second time, when I came back to film the second scene, because we didn't do it in one day, the reason being it was supposed to take place in 2 different seasons. So there was about 2 months that went by between the first scene that we filmed and the second one. And when we came back for the second one, it's me and another boy, right? And we're supposed to be 18, 19 years old. So the other kid, God bless him if he ever sees this, because he's a grown man now too, but he could not. He had 2 lines, and for whatever reason, he could remember the lines. That wasn't a problem, but the director was George Roy Hill, who directed Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He directed The Sting. He was a very famous director, and I remember he kept saying, the kid's name was Jamie, and he kept saying, Jamie, you're trying to act like a 19-year-old kid. Don't. You're a 19-year-old kid. Just be yourself and do this. And we had such a struggle. It required me getting off of my knees from pavement and standing up. That's kind of, and then the lines are delivered. but we did it so much that my knees were bleeding. They went and got pads and brought them back. The second scene probably took 9 hours. It was awful. It was just but there was one other day that we got brought down to the set to film, and when we got there, they decided that the light, the sky, basically was too gray, so we got paid for that day, and we sat around and ate with the crew, and which was exciting as hell for your first, the first movie you ever do. Chevy Chase was there, and Madeline Stowe was there, and a guy by the name of Mike Starr, who you may not know his name, but he's been in every movie. He's just a great actor. Uh, he did. He was in Goodfellas. He was in a lot of films, an awful lot of films. Really a good actor. But the point of that story was that I spent a lot of time getting to hang out and just watch the whole process, which was fascinating. And one of the other cool things was, I was 18, so the time when I came down to film for the first day, uh, I had a guy that set the whole thing up. I guess you could call him an agent, but I never really thought of him as an agent. But yeah, that's what he was. So and I called and said, "Hey, is it all right if I bring my dad?" And he goes, "What?" I said, "Well, my dad's never seen a movie get filmed." He's like, "Yeah, who cares?" So it was awesome. I was very close with my dad always, and I said, "Hey, you want to go watch the filming of this?" And my dad was like, "Who's going to say no to that?" So my dad got to come down, and amazingly, when I got to the set, the dressing rooms are built into 18 wheelers, right? So it's just an 18 wheeler, and then the side of it lifts up and slides, and there's all these doors. But I got there, and my name was on the door, right? And for an 18-year-old kid showing up on a movie scene, and I had my own dressing room, and it was great because I went in there and I said to my dad, I was like, that's the dressing room. I said, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to put on what, because I wasn't, there's an outfit that I was wearing. I was supposed to look like a redneck, so I was in there getting ready, putting on my stuff, and my dad opened the door, and it was it's one of those stories that gets told in my family and will till I pass away. But I looked down and went, "Hey, get out of my dressing room," which my dad found really really funny. That I had already become sort of the uppity actor with his own dressing room. But it was a very cool experience to have at 18. And then again later in life, I got to do some other films, and but it was never as cool as the first one. I think it's there's so many things in life that are that way. The first one I was so blown away. I mean, when I was sitting there at 18 years old, and we're out there filming the scene, and in the movie there's an MG, little MG that Chevy Chase drives, and all of a sudden you hear gears just grinding, and around the corner comes Chevy Chase and the woman who played his wife Madeline Stowe. They come around the corner, and he gets out of the car, and he's like 6'5" or 6'6". Chevy Chase is a very very tall guy, but he immediately wanted, he said, "Where are the kids at?" And he came over to introduce himself, and he said, "I wanted to meet you guys because I know everybody else here is full of shit." So it was just a very very cool experience. Yeah, he is an absolute legend. You're right. He is just a really, really funny guy. And here's the deal: the fact that you say that, you're probably closer to my age, or maybe you just really dig some of the films that he did. But for my generation, the guy was a legend, and uh, just having an opportunity to meet him at that age was such a cool thing. And the other thing that's funny is, I, the way I got the role. I'll tell you this story, people, because you probably want to talk longer in the comment section. So it's a worthy story. I said to my friends, "There's no cell phones, right? This is a long time ago. So there's no cell phones. There's no pagers, especially where I lived." So I said, we were all going out. And I said, "Well, I got to stop by the rec center. They're holding a cattle call, right? That's where you show up, and anybody can show up, and they're really just looking for extras. But if you got an agent and a resume and you've done some acting, you go down and you'll say, is there anything with a speaking role? You got any day players contracts? You got anything like that?" So my friends and I we were smoking pot, and getting stoned, and doing all that. But I said, "Swing by the rec center. I'll just go in and drop this off, and I'll be right out." Well, I get there, and there's probably 400 people. And I mean, we lived in a small town, but there's like 400 people that showed up in hopes of becoming an extra or whatever. And I looked at this line, and it was probably going to take 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get to the front of this line. And my friends were like, "No, come on." We were going to a place in Vermont where you can jump off of a bridge very safely. It's about a 40-foot drop. It's a good drop into water, but you could jump off it. And we'd go and do flips and act stupid. What kids do. Um, But I said, no, I really got to go to this thing. And they're like, well, we're not waiting for you. But I walked across the street and I went to a friend of mine's house and he was in there doing bong hits, being a degenerate kid. But I went in and he had a pizza box on on his table. And I said to him, do you have a red or a blue polo shirt? And he's like, I don't know. And he got me a red polo, not really polo, but had the polo collar, like a collared shirt, t-shirt. And he got it out of the laundry. It was foul and wrinkled, but I put it on and I stuck on a baseball hat. And then I took the shirt that I had on and I put it inside the empty pizza box that he had on his kitchen table, to get the dust out. I mean, the crumbs out and whatever. But I put the pizza box in my hand and I walked by the entire line of people and I walked all the way in. Oh, excuse me. And I walked all the way up to where the guys had the tables set up and were doing the interviews. And I dropped the pizza box and the casting director looked over and he goes, one of you guys ordered pizza? And they're all looking at each other sort of bewildered. And I said, no, hold on. And I opened the box and just, took my shirt off and pulled the other shirt on. And the guy said to me, you gotta be woofing me, right? He's like, you did that just to get by the crowd? I go, yeah. He goes, and you think we're just going to let you sit down for an interview? I was kind of hoping that, it might work out that way. And they all just started laughing. The guy goes, yeah, man, screw it. Sit down. Basically kicked somebody else out of the chair, which was probably not too kind. But, and I started talking to him for about a half an hour. And it was funny because when I went home, my dad said, did you actually go to that thing? I said, I did. And he's like, are you going to be bummed out when they don't call you? I said, no, they're going to call me. And he's like, oh, they tell everybody they're going to call them, I said, no, they didn't tell me they were going to call me. I said, but I promise you that they're going to, because I didn't do this the way the next guy did it. I was nothing if not very unique in my approach to how I got through the front door. So from there, they called me and asked me to go to a place called Hawk Mountain, which is a very nice resort in Vermont. And I went there and auditioned for George Roy Hill, the director. And, I was, like I said, I was a theater major. I was into the whole thing for a while. It was sort of a life I wanted to live. And, I knew who he was. I could tell you everything he ever directed, at that point in my life. So it was like meeting a legend. This guy did Butch Cassidy, for God's sakes. I mean, you want to talk about a great movie. Some of the great lines ever are from that movie. Just some really great cinematography, beautiful script. I mean, that thing was killer. And, The Sting was a pretty good damn movie too. Butch Cassidy was probably better, but The Sting was a great movie. But I went and auditioned for him, and I was working at a cabinet making shop, and my dad came down the hill. He had a little Toyota pickup at the time, and he came into the driveway and he started sliding, jammed on the brakes. And I knew as soon as I looked out the window, I'm like, yeah, I got that part. He's coming down to tell me that. And he jumped out of the truck and he's like, hey, what'd you do? What? I said, yeah, it's, let me guess. I got the part. And he's like, yeah, no, you got the part. Yes, jack of all trades. Boy, by the time it's all over and I tell you everything that I did before I went off the rails, and I don't mean doing dope. I mean, I was doing dope then. I'm talking about going off the rails in terms of not being able to, I got so blackballed in the entire business world as, the heroin guy. And it wasn't because I missed jobs or didn't show up for, I worked as a public speaker for a long time, and it was never a matter of me not showing up. It was never anything like that. It wasn't a matter of me having bad numbers. It was just once they knew that you're a heroin addict, they just assume that that's going to happen. What happens the day you can't get heroin? And for that reason, I just got blackballed, and I got blackballed so badly that, I was going to be selling Kirby vacuum cleaners or something. I was going to be going door to door. There was no chance of working anywhere in my field, ever again. But yeah, there was a time where I sold stock. There was a time where I was the president of a publicly traded company. I've done an awful lot of crazy stuff. Jesse Stinson says, I have a question, Tommy. Who's the most important person to you who's not in your family now? I'm reading this is redoing the list, apparently. I got a 5x5. Is this already cut off? I am talking to myself, aren't I? I believe I am. No, I still seem to be live. Hold on. No, I am still here, correct? Mel Gibson is a great producer. I agree with you. 5x5. I am still here. People, it's so if I look on YouTube, what it's showing me is just not what it is should be showing me. All right, people, I'll tell you what. We'll go for another couple of minutes so that people have an opportunity to say. I hate cutting off a live feed when there's still some people here who are having fun talking to one another. And since I bailed out yesterday, I won't lie to you people, I missed you. I really did. I told a bunch of people that last night. You know, I talked to Mark and I talked to some other people, and uh, it was so great to have some time off. You know, it was because I don't remember how many nights in a row we did live feeds, people, but we did a bunch of them, and you know, just talking nonstop for an hour and a half is not an easy thing to do if you have to keep, you know, you don't want dead air for 2 minutes. People get really bummed out about that. But my brother Johnny, if you've been with Chase the Heat and you've been there for a while, Johnny did 6 hour feeds, live feeds. He did 26-hour live feeds on 2 or 3 different occasions, which if you think about it is fantastic. I mean, that's just as a concept, that's almost hard to imagine. You know, being able to just sit and talk for that length of time without downtime and without getting boring. Well, we're probably boring anyway, but you understand what I'm saying. Without really getting into all kinds of trouble. Hold on, I had something. There was something else that I wanted to. You know what? I don't think I brought it down. Darn it. Tell you what, I'll make a note of it, and next time we'll get it for sure. But yeah, a couple of shout outs real quick before we go. Rampage. Closing in on 20 years, people. That is absolutely amazing. It really is. Joe cruising up to his 4th day going meth free. And our other friend, Brandon, right? It's Brandon. Yeah, Brandon Calloway. I'm brain dead, people. I am sorry. But he has hit, if I am not mistaken, he is on his 14th day, which is just, people, this is the dream. It really is. This is what, did I say? It's Brandon, isn't it? Yeah, it's Brandon Galloway. 14 days. I remember when he popped into the comment section and said he had a couple of days sober, and we were all excited for him. Greg F., it's 2:16 here. Good night. Greg, you're a beast to hang out until 2:16 in the morning, man. I'll tell you what, I don't think you have any idea what that means to me. That is absolutely too kind. Gone Girl Gone. I absolutely am happy you are here. You are a blessing. I'm telling you, people, that's another girl that is just, every message she leaves is just positive. Saigon Cinnamon, one of my favorite people alive. Hold on, I need to see what you said. See, I can't get this on the feed, so Saigon, I didn't see what you just said. I do not have a feed anymore, so I cannot even read this, and it almost seems like I'm picking on Saigon. Seriously, like I never ever see what it is that he is saying. At least it seems that way. Hold on, let me see. The Swiss Vapor says, the days will come where I will visit you. My family lives in Delvin, Wisconsin. We'll definitely visit you and Johnny. Hey, man, bring it. You hear me? Bring it. I will show you a sober time that will be more fun than you ever had on drugs. I promise you. Get to this country and I will blow you away, my friend. I look forward to that day. I absolutely look forward to that day. Saigon Cinnamon said, Tommy, I can't wait to change my icon picture to me and my son holding a never quit. That's what I'm talking about, man. That is so cool. Yeah, I cannot wait to see your icon with you and your son's picture on the shirts. And while that subject is up, I would be happy if we had 50, 100 icons of people wearing the shirt, the Saigon Cinnamon official shirt. And Saigon, do you know how funny it's going to be 3 or 4 years from now when people are dumping one on eBay and people are bidding to try to get them? Because I promise you, the Saigon Cinnamon shirt will never look the same. Jesse Stinson, we'll meet, brother. You're in the United States, right? If you're in the U.S., people, there's no chance we're not going to meet. If you're in the U.S., I mean, it's going to be a struggle for some of the other countries for us to figure out a way to get together unless you come to the States. If you come to the States, I'll bend over backwards to make sure that we have an opportunity to spend time with each other. But if you are in the United States of America, there is literally no excuse whatsoever for us not having an opportunity to get together. And I promise you, when I tell you that I'm all in, I will do just about anything to make sure that we get an opportunity to spend time together. Saigon Cinnamon, Virginia. Yeah, there you go. Look, and I'm telling you right now, when the COVID thing is has reached its conclusion, I'm going to go all over the U.S. and we're going to set up little little shows where everybody can come to get together to meet. Uh, we need a group picture. I couldn't agree more. And let me tell you something. We're going to do a group picture. Listen to this. We're going to do a group picture and we're going to do it without having to get together. I've done this once before and it can be done. We're going to do it in the very, very near future, actually. I am going to give everybody the instructions on exactly how you do it. And we're all going to, you pick a white wall behind you, right? And everybody gets a picture. We all stand the same distance away. You got whether you have an iPhone or you got an Android, you can put a 3 second or a 10-second timer on it, right? So you set it up 5 feet away, poof, you hit it. You give it to me. I take all of those shots, I put them into pixel cut. I remove everything around the outside except the outline of your face. If you guys have ever gone to my old Instagram channel, I did a couple of things like this. I did one post of when I did my 200th post, I posted all of them at once and put them on so that it looks like one big post, like a mosaic of all the different ones, basically all the same size. But we'll do the exact same thing and we will get a group photo and we will put everybody in there, all of us, and get one big deal. And then I'll probably Photoshop that onto a boat so that it looks like everybody's head's above the rail or whatever. But right now, the core that is here, look, we're closing in on 1,500, right? We had a drop, we had the drama and the drop or whatever. We're back up. In fact, I think we're above where we were when the drama started. We got a lot of new people that come on. But all of that aside, we have out of that 1,500, there's a core group of people here. You could name them off the top of your head right now, right? They were all here on the live feed tonight. They're always in the comment section. It is the same people that are always leaving comments and checking up on one another. You're always the same people that are over on the harbor side over at Facebook. All of you, you know who we're talking about. It's the core group. I'm never going to forget this core group. Like, these are the people that when we've got 2 million subs or we've got 1.5 or we got 200,000 or whatever the case may be, and people are going, how is it that those people all seem to be really close with the captain, right? Because that this core group, I mean, as long as you people aren't going anywhere, I promise you my love for you ain't going anywhere either. You know, we really have, this is not a YouTube channel host and subscriber kind of a thing. And I'm not, this isn't a pitch, people. I'm not trying to make you feel good or anything else, but I couldn't care more about Saigon Cinnamon if I tried. And Deja and Fee and Virginia, all of you, man. There's nobody on here right now, Jesse, that, people. I got the guilts last night. And I know I got a ton of emails. Don't feel guilty. You don't have to feel guilty. Spend time, for you. And you're all kind. I get that. But I dig this. I really do. And it's not that I dig sitting here and trying to talk long enough for you guys to be able to visit the comment section. What I dig really is knowing that we're all interacting and we're all, we're building a relationship that is just so much different. It really is. What we have at this channel is definitely different than it is anywhere else. Virginia, no, but I'm 38, and when I was 5 or 6, I seen the helmets and fell in love, and have been a diehard since. You know what? How many people have picked teams by helmets? I love that. I absolutely love that. I really do. Alan Ballantyne. Alan, if you have been here a while, I apologize for not saying hi. I spoke with Alan. We were emailing each other right before I went live. And he said to me, I'm at work. He's on the other side of the world, people. So we have kind of a different schedule. It's always kind of a little screwed up. But he said, I'm going to try to pop in there. I'm so glad that you did. Another person, as we're naming this core group, that's another guy that is just absolutely, part of the core group of people here. Gone Girl, love you. So happy you're here. These are the people. I'm telling you, folks, when, except for maybe Deja Moore and Fee, because the whole, all of the different crazy stuff that they're into is just starting to drive me nuts. The Vegemite, right? these terrible bands with the taco, taco, taco. Saigon, I'm talking to you too. I'm on to you. Just crazy music. Absolutely crazy music. Um, don't laugh at me, Fee. And Gone Girl says, I'm so glad I caught a live show. Not as glad as I am that you caught a live show. Does this mean that you're going to take my advice and stay away from motorcycles? I think that really is the question. Yeah, well, you're going to stay away from motorcycles. Stop it. Stop being dangerous. You need to take care of yourself. Yeah, Deja, if you laugh, period, it's evil. Vegemite, stale marshmallows, and you don't like candy corn. You're lucky I talked to you. Gone Girl, yeah, she's laughing, but you know I'm right. Stay away from those. Hey Tommy, have you ever been to other countries? I have. I have been pretty much all over the world. The ski thing got me to a lot of different countries. When I was the president of a publicly traded company, we were extruding magnesium, and we were making things out of magnesium and welding it, which is a real science because magnesium likes to burst into flames, and when it does, nothing can put it out. I don't know if you ever remember science class with a little ribbon. Well, we were extruding it into tubes and welding it, and it was a technology that had been developed in Russia prior to the fall of the Soviet Union. So I was flying to Russia, spending a lot of time in Russia to deal with all of the stuff with this company. But all of our shipping and all of our the finishing of the products, the painting and all of that was done in Budapest in Hungary. So I was spending a lot of time there. I've been to Australia before the felony things. In fact, I had been to Australia multiple times. Oddly enough, when I first met Lady Fiona Crispin and we got to talking, we shared a very close friend when she was younger and I was considerably younger. I went to Australia and met a person while I was over there and spent some time with one of her friends. And she almost had a heart attack when we first started talking back and forth. And she told me where she was from. I mentioned a person and where I knew them from, and she said to me, "Oh my God, it's one of my best friends." And then we started going through some pictures, and we knew some of the same people. It's really been bizarre how the boat has brought people together in really bizarre ways. Like I said before, it'll almost make you believe in magic because or God's hand, because there's just the coincidences are way too crazy. I mean, truthfully, the first time that Fiona and I had a conversation about this, it really became one of those things that Virginia, don't do that. Don't do that. Seriously, I hold you in such high esteem. Don't do that. You would like my candy corn. By the way, people, my candy corn is caramel, right? You know that. I eat caramel candy corn. So if you haven't tried that, you're not allowed to poo-poo my candy corn. Go out, you can buy it. Walmart will have it, any of the other stores. It is the caramel candy corn, not your run-of-the-mill stuff, right? So if you don't like caramel, you probably ought to leave. No, I'm kidding. But everybody likes caramel. Caramel's fantastic. Have I ever been to Palm Beach County? So many times I can't explain it. In fact, so Jesse Stinson, let me get this straight. You live in Palm Beach County? Don't make me tip the boat, Captain. Do not even talk about that. You're not going to do anything to the boat. You don't like caramel? I don't think I trust you. See, I like caramel corn. Virginia, we're fine. These other two, though, not so much. Dangerous. Bad. Not good. So, Jesse Stinson, are you in? You need to answer me, my man. I know that there is a slight delay, so I'm sure that you're typing right now. But if you're in Palm Beach County, it's odd that you say that because I hold in my hand travel papers that I am filling out for the, if we can make that out, but this is a request to travel outside of my region. I'm on federal probation, people, so when I leave Nevada these days, you still live there. This is a paper to travel to Palm Beach County. How's that? No joke. I will be down there. You'll have a chance for us to meet one another. Jesse, I will be down there between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm not exactly sure what days yet because it has to go through parole and probation and all of that. I bet candy corn companies work with dentists to ensure more cavities. If not, they should, right? That's great marketing right there. Good thinking, Bacalao. My favorite liquid is Calipitter Chow. That's caramel, hazelnut, and vanilla. I have never heard of such a thing. I have never heard of such a thing. A dentist invented cotton candy floss. I believe that makes perfect sense. And Fee says, I want to try candy corn. Fee, add that to the long list of things from America that you want to try and get over here. We've had this discussion. Come and visit. I'll take care of letting you check out all of this stuff. Okay. Don't do it, Fee. Don't let him break the bond of sisterhood. Deja? That's it. You're in for it. He said, in fact, my family moved here since 2009. Well, Jesse, I am coming there. That is no joke. That is what this paper is for. I will be spending somewhere around a week to 10 days in Florida, just right near Palm Beach County. If I'm not staying exactly in it, it'll be probably Delray or one of the ones close enough where we can get together. I promise you. We'll go and do lunch or something, and we'll hang out and we'll film. Right? People, I want to tell you something else because I don't know that I've ever said this officially, but it's probably something that should be said. And that is, unless I'm missing a limb, I'm not going to miss a day filming. Like when I had the C plus math, I continued to film in spite of some people who were being caring. They weren't being jerks. Don't misunderstand me, but people who encouraged me not to because they wanted me to take care of me, and I get that. But, not to the level of the Truman Show, right, or anything like that. But I have agreed wholeheartedly to share my life with my crew, and I'm going to do that, right? That is going to be something that that I do for as long as the time that I'm doing this. I think that is important. There needs to be a bond, because if you're going to be able to come, to me and say, I'm hurting and I'm thinking of using, that's not something you can do when you build a relationship with a host who puts up one video every couple of weeks. It just doesn't work. But if you were able to tap into 2 or 3, or at least 2 a day, right? There's a couple of videos that go up every single day, and there's a couple of different segments that we're always doing. When the call-in starts, that's going to be really, really good as well. When we start doing the call-in shows, I think that's going to be great. But my pledge, people, is to continue to film. So if and when I leave to go to West Palm Beach, right, and I'm down in the Palm area, of course I'm going to continue to film. I will bring the tripod. I'll bring the camera. You will see where I'm going, where I'm staying. I want very much to include you people in what I do, and I believe that you will suffer torment. You're obviously never been in a boat. Burial at sea. You're just going to get a canvas sack. That's what you're going to get, and we're just going to toss you anyway. Virginia Doolin, you really are fantastic. I'm so happy that you're on this boat. In fact, as the names roll up right now, I'm the luckiest guy in the world, people. If you got to the boat late, then you may not have seen the show that I did, and it was entitled, you know what, Crispin? You're in deep trouble. No more talk of Vegemite. People, if you never saw the video that I did where I said, everybody goes in the comment section and they say, I love what you're doing, Captain, or at the time it was just Tommy, but Tommy, I love what you're doing. Tommy, I love you. It's the greatest show. This is my favorite show. You're my favorite YouTuber, all of these things. I am really a big fan of the phrase, you are really lucky I'm here. Because let's keep it real. You're coming here and telling me that you love what I'm doing. I appreciate the heck out of that. But you know what? I'm lucky you're here. I could be talking to nobody. I could be sitting here right now going over in my head what I'm going to say when the time comes that people actually show up. And there are so many channels out there that are doing that. People who are working as hard as I am, who have 20 subs, or they got 100 subs, or whatever the case may be. I am blessed that you people are here. I'm so lucky that I have a group of people that like what I'm doing, and like like what I've put together, that share my dream. You know how lucky I am? So when you see Charlie Mullins and it says YAL, he puts YAL, that is something that I did in one of the earliest videos. And YAL is you are lucky. I want people to remind me, I am lucky that you people are here. I'm blessed. This is not, I don't ever want to be one of those YouTubers that takes for granted the people that show up and support him, because that's awful. Derek N. He says, good night to all. I love you all. Derek N. I am so glad that you were on this live feed tonight. Some really great interaction with you. Obviously, we share an awful lot, and it's you're an important guy, and you're really important to me. I'm so glad that you were here. You have a great night, Derek, and take care of yourself. You know exactly where we'll be if you need us. and Mr. Mark Wages pops on and says, you guys are still here? Oh, that is so cool. Derek will come back, Virginia. I promise you he will be here. Mark, we are still here. Do you know why we're still here, Mark? Because I told everybody that we're just going to stick around until you do the next live feed, where you're going to be talking about space weather. We're holding out for that. And until that time, I mean, it might be 2 or 3 days, but no one's going anywhere until you go live. And then we're just going to chase you over to your channel. That's the plan anyway. Yes, Fiona Crispin says, you missed Tommy's Hollywood movie stories. I believe I've told Mark that I was in a movie. Maybe I have not. We really do kind of concentrate on the channel, but yeah. 2 or 3 days, Deja says. Okay, people, let's see here. We are at, we have been going now for what is approaching 2 hours and 36 minutes. That's a long live feed, people. It really is. That's a pretty impressive number. Yeah, that's a pretty long live feed. Saigon Cinnamon. So we are, honestly, people, I really have gotten to that point in the night where it's probably time to shut it down. However, what did that say from? Can you say 4,000 hours? Yes, I think we can say 4,000 hours. People, Mark makes a really important point. Before I get off of this live feed, it definitely has now occurred to me that at 2 hours and 36 minutes, it's, pardon me, it is all but a certainty, people, that we either just crossed the 4,000 hour threshold or we missed it by 15 minutes. Like, it's going to be one of those kind of a thing, because this really is, I mean, we're right there. If we didn't hit it today, we literally missed it by nothing. Like, it's going to be by a matter of minutes. But I can't tell you, I honestly can't tell you how excited I am. Deja Moore does the victory dance. I can't tell you how excited I am, people, and I can't tell you how much that I know this was you. There's not 1 second of time that I have not credited this 4,000 hours to you people. The fact that the channel is growing is a credit to you people. I just sit here and talk, you know what I mean? I'll take credit for the dream. I'll take credit for the idea. I really will. But my idea was this big. And I met Mark Wages and my idea got this big. And then the people of the boat got on and the idea got this big. And then you guys called it the lifeboat and you named it. And it seemed apropos that I got a hat. And all of these things that have happened, it's, I don't even know if I can put it into words to think about something for 6 years in a prison cell and dream about this and lay it out and take notes and all of the different things. And then
somebody like Saigon Cinnamon comes along and in one word changes every single thing, right? The never quit quitting. It's not something that in 6 years ever crossed my mind, but it is so indelibly a part of this show and will be forever, right? One guy, um, L.B. Loxley, when he said, the uh, talked about addiction as being like a dictator. You don't hate the country just because a dictator has taken over. That that shaped how I word things and how I view things. 6 years of taking notes and planning and nothing, it really is astounding just how much you people have um, taken it. Yeah, Mark just nailed it. One word describes it: family. Other channels, you don't run into a lot of them like what we got here, what we got at Wages World, where you really are such a part of what's going on that um, you can change the channel by bringing something to the party. How about Mark saying to me, "Boy, you really should have him mail in those goodbye letters and just read them on the air." Boom! Right? How much has that changed the complexion of this boat? Or that when I went up to have you vote on the names, and I just said, LB Loxley said this, and oddly enough, LB stands for lifeboat. I didn't know if any of you guys knew that. And instantly, a great guy who's no longer on the boat said, I think lifeboat sounds better than anything else. And here we are, people. It really is a family. I'm humbled to beat hell that you guys are letting me captain this boat. And I promise you, if I wasn't a captain on this boat, I would just be in the crew with you. The other night when Mark took over for me because the internet here in my hometown wasn't working, it was awesome to be in the comment section and just be getting to know everybody that way. It was absolutely awesome. Um, Gone Girl Gone says lifeboat. Yeah, it's it really is different than anything I've ever felt in any other place on social media. The comment section is awesome. It's like a party, and it's a tribute to you people. The rate of growth of people coming into this channel who are just coming from word of mouth. When I talk to these people, everyone has got sent here by somebody else. That you can't create that. You really can't. You have to have a family to make that happen, because people aren't going out there and saying, boy, you got to hear Tommy, he's awesome. Everybody's going out there and saying, there is a family here, there's love here, everybody takes care of one another here. That's honestly, that's what's growing this boat. That is what is driving this engine. And tonight, people, are going to be filling out a little paperwork because as it turns out, we're getting a new crew member. You people have probably heard. His name is YouTube. And YouTube is going to be coming on board and pushing us into households that we didn't have a shot at getting into. They are going to push us in front of people that need this message. I've said this, and I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything else, but while I'm talking right now, there's a cat out there that's got a needle in his arm that we're going to stop. There's a person out there right now with a Coke spoon up their nose, and we're going to stop that person from continuing. There are alcoholics that don't know we exist that we're going to help stop drinking. That's awesome. And YouTube is going to make it happen for us. Is that not the coolest thing you've ever heard in your life? Huh? YouTube is going to make that happen with us. They're our partners now, or will be shortly. We're going to fill out the paperwork tonight. We're going to wait for it to come back in. But we're very clean as a channel. We've never done anything to upset them, which means the paperwork should go quicker for us than a channel that has had strikes in the past or done anything. Deja Moore says, thank God. I'm with you. Thank God. People, what we've done in 66 days, I'm telling you, what you've done in 66 days to get this boat where it is so far above and beyond what I thought possible. And I'm not going to lie to you, I set the bar pretty high. When I started to set goals out on this, 66 days, Virginia Doolin says. 66, I'll go with that. 66 days to monetization, 66 days to 1,500 subs. More importantly, 66 days to true family. 66 days to caring for one another to the point that when Anna wasn't in the comment section for 2 days, everybody freaked out. I got emails from everybody. Where is Anna? What's going on with Anna? Do you have an ability for us to send her an email? How do you get a hold of Anna? People, where do you find that? Where does that happen? It happens right here at the lifeboat, right? That's it. It happens right here at the lifeboat. At the lifeboat. Man, I love this place. Man, I love you guys. I am so proud to be associated with this crew of people. So this is and if we did this 15 more minutes, it would be 3 hours, people. That's almost abusive. So we're going to resume our normal business schedule as of tomorrow. What that means is I'm the mechanical engineer running the engine on the boat. I like it. Backwoods Nomad. Never seen that name before. Welcome to the boat, Backwoods Nomad. Glad to have you. Really, really glad to have you. We had, who's the new person tonight? Emerson. People, we're getting new people popping on the feed every single time we go. I wish someday, I'm sure that I'll have the technology. We're not going to let you in the back office at some level. There are things I would love to show you. I have looked in back offices at people's live feeds and they go like this, Obviously, maybe he said something at that point that drops off the audience and a bunch of people leave. Ours goes like this. You people get on a live feed and you don't get off a live feed. I'm almost tempted to get on one night and say, the heck with it, I'm not going to stop talking until everybody leaves and see how long it would take you. I really, in my heart of hearts, have a feeling that I'd probably have to tap out. I don't think you would ever leave. And that says so much about the family. I assure you that it's not, I'll end up in the brig for sure. Alan Ballantyne, you may. Backwoods Nomad, I'm the cook on the boat, Virginia says. I like it. Deck swabber. Now, see this, people? I love it, right? How cool is this? But I got to say right now, first mate's taken. You know that, right? Yeah, so you guys are all claiming jobs. I think it's awesome. It's what should happen. You should all be claiming jobs on this boat. But I got a first mate, and he's done as much. I'll take that back. He's probably done more for this boat than I have. Mark Wages is a beast. I love you, Mark, from the bottom of my heart. You're, you saw my vision. I think Mark had my dream before I did. I swear to you, I believe that's the truth. When we got together and started talking, he was just, yeah, exactly. And it was, every part of the conversation was just us agreeing. And no, Saigon Cinnamon, without a shadow of a doubt, should probably be having something to do with press. I think I can see him as like public relations. Who are the people on the boat that organize all of the parties and the everyone else? Mark Wages says, I truly love you all. And you know what, Mark? It shows. It really does. It shows. There are people who say things like that all the time, and it's great. It's awesome to hear it. But there are people that prove it. And there are people, everybody here right now. I mean, the people that got on here and have been on here since I started talking, that's dedication. I know that there are time zones where it is late as all get out, but you people are hanging on here. It's that kind of dedication. It's that kind of devotion. It's the people that don't miss the bell every time it gets hit. And you're always there to say to the person who wrote the letter, hey, great job. When somebody comes on, it's the greatest thing in the world to me. When somebody pops, like Joe the other night, who says, look, it's not going to sound like a lot, because it's only 2 days, but never in my life have I quit. I started doing meth at 17. I'm 36. I've never even tried to quit. I remember I was sitting here and I had a friend at my house at the time, and I said to the person, watch how fast this feed turns unbelievably huge. And the sad thing is, no joke, my friend said, what do you mean people are going to be mean? New to the boat, obviously. This is a friend of mine that had no idea what I was doing. I said, no one's going to be mean. I said, but the way this boat works, everybody and their brother is going to tell this dude that they're proud of him. Everybody and their brother is going to tell this guy that, he's a hero, that what he's doing is just absolutely awesome, and that we're all here for him. And it was fun to watch someone's reaction, because it is so different, people. It really is so different, and it's so much more than I dreamed it would be. That's you. So, to the entire crew, right? To the entire crew of the lifeboat, we did it. You did it, right? We're there, people. I assure you, the extra few minutes that we have spent here congratulating one another and being nice. Sparky's Run. Cruise director organizes fun, etc. You're absolutely right. I can see Saigon Cinnamon as the cruise director. I absolutely can. Saigon will require a one of those white little outfits. You know what I mean? So white polished shoes, little black epaulets on the shoulders, maybe a cool hat. Oh yeah, I absolutely could see that. Sparky's Run. Hello. I do not believe that I have ever welcomed Sparky's Run to the boat. If I have not, welcome to the lifeboat. We're happy to have you. My name is Captain Tommy. And you, I'll tell you what, you got here just a little late in the evening because we did start this. Let's see, 2 hours and 50 minutes ago, give or take. We have been celebrating. It's been a night of celebration, people. Just to recap before we roll this out, and because it seems almost silly to not do 9 more minutes, you know what I mean? But just to recap the evening. What we're celebrating, people, is that in 66 days we hit our first goal, the first big one. Second big one, right? The first big one was we needed to get 1,000 people as crew members on this boat because you cannot get YouTube as a partner until you have 1,000 crew members, plain and simple. And we did the 1,000 mark within the first month. Yeah, in fact, easily within the first month. I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks in that we hit the 1,000 people. Then the next milestone is considerably more difficult, not just for us, but for everybody. The next milestone is the need to have 4,000 hours of watch time. People, to put that in perspective, it is 250,000 minutes. Well, 240,000 minutes. You figure, what do? On average, our videos are probably 8 to 9 minutes, correct? So when you start thinking that the videos that we're doing are, 7 to 9 minutes, somewhere in there, and we needed 240,000 minutes. I remember the first time I read it and they said, you have to be able to do that in a 12-month period of time. And I thought, there's no way, right? How do you get that? It just doesn't seem possible to me. And then when I saw how much success the boat had in the first, say, 4 days, I said, New Year's. I really believe we can do this by New Year's. We'll have the 1,000 people, we'll have the 4,000 hours. And I thought, that's really going to give everybody it's really going to give people an idea of how serious we are. It's going to help. The algorithm is going to push us harder. Our new partners at YouTube are going to take us seriously. So we just got to get this done by January 1. And within the next week or two, I thought, no, we can beat that. So the next goal, I was just popping holidays. So Thanksgiving seemed like a good one. And then you remember, people, not 7 days ago, we were saying Halloween. We're going to get to that 4,000 hours and we're going to do it by Halloween, but with a lot of help from the mind of Mark Wages, who came up with a game plan that we have all executed, really. But the ideas for what needed to happen came from my first mate. Mark really said to me, you want to hit this? Here's what you're going to do. And to my credit, I followed instructions because for the first half of my life, I wasn't able to do that for any reason. But these days, I seem to be better at it. So I took what Mark said and ran with it. And you people have supported both me and your crewmates and everybody else all the way across the board. And here we are now at 66 days. And it's not the finish line, people. It's the starting gate. But we are at the starting gate. The boat has been painted. Right? We've got our product is looking more professional, especially for a crew that's 66 days in. We really are looking like we know what we're doing. which is a good thing, especially considering you have Captain Tommy at the helm. We look like we know what we're doing anyway. And in about 4 minutes, people, I am going to get off of this live feed, and then I'm going to travel to the upstairs office, and I'm going to fill out some stuff online because we are now most assuredly there, and by there I mean we are partners with YouTube. All we have to do now is fill out the paperwork. 4,000 hours and 1,448 subscribers in 66 days. I think we're doing a pretty good job. You know what I mean? You can grow quicker than that if you're Justin Bieber, but if you're a 51-year-old ex-convict bank robber and gun runner who spent better than 30 years of the heroin, this was a tall order, and I didn't do it. I didn't. You did. Each and every one of you, those of you who said, how can I help? And I said, tell all your friends, and you did. Those people who said, I'll do anything to help. And I said, share this, right? Send this out to everybody you know. Make sure that you share it. Mark Wages popping on and saying, you do realize this? And I'd go, no. Well, do you know you can do this? No. Do you want some help doing this? Everybody has brought everything to this party. The slogan that appears on the boat when you first pop in, is that Alan Ballantyne? Alan, good night, my brother. Alan is signing out from Australia. People, never quit quitting. Mr. Saigon Cinnamon, the banner on the boat, right? The next time you see one of those, one of our new screens, there's actually a plane flying over, and it's dragging a banner behind it as well. People, this is coming together. I have never been more proud of a group of people in my life. Please keep the letters coming. It is our absolute best icebreaker in terms of finding other people that we can save. Those letters are solid gold. They really are. Virginia Doolin, God bless you. All of you people. It is, we are really there, people. It is now the top of the hour, so everybody can say their good nights. I would just like to thank everybody for staying on here as long as you did. If ever there was going to be an insurance policy, you people just gave it to me. There is now absolutely no doubt whatsoever. Happy trails to you, Gone Girl Gone says, until we meet again. You do not want me singing at the end of every live feed. Bad precedent. I shan't be doing it. You know what I do at the end of every video, people. I say something. I won't do this because it's just simply not going to happen. But what I will say is this. People, thank you for showing up. I love each and every one of you. My name is Captain Tommy Scoville. I will see you on the next video. But between now and that time, you know what I want you to do, right, people? Let's go save somebody. Have a good night.